find a way to keep that music going for like a few seconds, fading, because it ends too quick when we come in. And it's just like all the epicness stops, and it's like, these two guys.
I still like that it says. I still like that the logo says Beaver Zer0. It's great. Beaver hole.
We all trigger on different things, don't we?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat though that our logo is actually smushed together so well.
It is. They've shunted very well together.
Shouldn't have talked into my drink. I was trying to gargle here. Yeah. So tonight, what do we got? We're gonna talk about. Well, okay. Apparently, I've just discovered that there's a photoshopped image of an Abrego Garcia. That Kilmair Abrego Garcia that I have not seen, that apparently we are gonna light my world up with here, so I'm ready for that. And then we have. About this. Go ahead, you talk about that first.
Yeah, we talked about this very briefly in the Greek. I had figured for certain that you had seen this. I mean, I was like, man, no way you haven't seen this, because it's just too good. It's just too good, right? And he was like, no, I haven't seen it yet. I was like, fuck, you've got to see this shit. I don't know. I'm sure every American who's listening to this right now knows what I'm talking about, because we have the dumbest president in the history of stupid presidents. I mean, I'm sorry, if you're a Trump fan and you just openly support everything he does and everything he says, you're fucking stupid too, because you have a president. We have a president in this country that is. Calling him stupid, that's not even enough. That's not even enough. I'm going to show you why. Okay, so most of you know, right? The whole, Kilmair Abrego Garcia situation, where we just, without any due process whatsoever, ship somebody off to an El Salvadorian prison for what equates to a misdemeanor crime, right? Not even a misdemeanor civil offense, not a crime. Misdemeanor civil offense, right? Most people get a ticket for this.
What was it they're using at this point now? They dug out like a
so
like some sort of police report but what did they pull out?
Yeah, they're trying to pull up this police report. It's even the judge is like,
Well, okay, but first of all, they didn't have that police report when they went for their first court hearing. So that means they literally had to like reach into the tickle trunk and be like, pull out a piece of paper, because they didn't even have that initially. So this idea that this is why we did it, it's like the information that you failed to present to the judge the first time.
Right, when you went to the Supreme Court to argue your case, and you come up and say, well, no, it was a mistake, when your own fucking lawyer was like, no, we made a mistake. Yeah, we made a mistake. It was like, well, you shouldn't have said that. Well, but he did. He did say that, and it was true at the time. And it wasn't until your revisionist history of this whole fucking thing, well, he's an MS-13 gang member, like that, it was never proven in court. It was alleged, and even the fucking presiding judge was like, I don't think so.
A little bit too much. They're a little rich for my taste.
Yeah, we're stretching truths here a little bit, and so then we get Trump and Pam Bondi and
Mango Mussolini. I've been seeing Sweet Potato Hitler lately. That one's funny.
Hitler is a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
They've got little pictures of him as a shriveled up sweet potato.
Have you seen?
Awesome.
Have you seen the AI generated videos of him eating hamburgers and shit?
Yeah, well, I've seen the one with. Did we show that? It was it's JD Vance painting him with Cheeto dust.
Yeah, so along the same veins as that, except he's just housing fucking McDonald's and hamburgers and shit. Okay, anyway, so after
I feel like I'm housing some McDonald's cheeseburgers and stuff. Jesus, I'm working on it.
So trying here. It's tough. Well, it's not tough not to eat a whole lot, because I don't keep a whole lot of food in the house just because, you know what I mean? But
I have children, so there's always going to be snacks, and so it's the killer. But
when my kids come over, here's the fucked up. When the kids come over, they want to go to the store and buy stuff for the house. I'm like, cool, let's go do that. We go buy the things for the house. And then they'll be here for a bit, and then they'll leave. And I'm like, no, take these with you. I'm like, well, we want them here for the next time we come. I'm like, okay, but the problem is
they won't be here.
Exactly, they're not going to be here. So you take them with you, and then I don't have to worry about it.
It's anyway, my wife made these delicious cookies, and I've been having a hard time not having one.
So, I understand that struggle. Whenever I was in a permanent familial situation with a woman, it was always, hey, I'm starting a new diet and workout regimen. Can you, not make all those delicious goodies that you make, or at least make them and then take them somewhere else.
Like hide them on me. Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, oh, cool, yeah, I'm making this fucking southern banana pudding shit, this custardy banana pudding that's the most delicious thing you're ever going to have. Don't eat all of it. And I'm going to make an entire 13 by 9 fucking sheet cake of it. I was like, fucking hell, why are you doing this to me?
Doomed. But back to
Anyway.
their mic's being weird occasionally, but
What's going on? Is it being
I don't
stupid
know.
or?
It got all muffly and like sounded like you were talking to me through like reverberating through a cave on me all of a sudden. Anyways, it's so far it's still good. So let's just we'll keep moving.
All right. So anyway, back to yes, Adam.
Yeah,
Strange
he's been having a bad year. Yeah.
Yeah, people get divorced. It fucking happens. Yeah,
it
happens. Anyway, so Mango Mussolini, I fucking love that. I'm gonna start using that now. I was calling him, Orange Mussolini, but Mango Mussolini is an alliteration and it flows better. So,
I like it.
yeah, I like it too. So anyway, Trump finds a picture that was put out, and mind you, this is a photo that was an attempt to prove that Garcia had MS-13 tattoos, right? And obviously, it doesn't. It just doesn't. It's such a fucking stretch to get MS-13 from his tattoos. However, I'm going to share this now. Beaver has not seen this. So
I hadn't even heard about this yet. I'd seen that they released body cam footage. Oh, okay, let's see.
So here's a photo that okay, you see this?
Okay. I haven't.
Can you see the picture?
Yeah, I can. Does that leaf go off of his finger? Like, does it? I can't see properly. You gotta zoom in on this almost, I think. Hold on.
That's as zoomed in as I can get, unfortunately.
Hold on, maybe I can do it here.
Maybe you can. Yeah.
Here we go.
Do you see these knuckle tats? Okay, there you see these knuckle tats here?
Yes.
Now, do you see what's above the knuckle tats?
Oh my god, is that actually? Oh no, they can't be real. Like, they can't have actually said that that's what happened here.
Trump,
like, are they like those are legitimate MS-13 fucking? They're like on the
100%.
same. They're on the same like they're on this. They're like perfectly like they came out of somebody took paint or something, MS Paint, and they went along and added a fucking MS and a 1 and a 3. That's amazing.
Right. So this was somebody who was trying to make the connection with his tattoos that the M for marijuana is like even says marijuana, smile, cross, and skull at the bottom. Those aren't there either. That's also, those are also fucking photoshopped in. So really, it's just the marijuana leaf, the smiley face, the cross, and then the skull. Like, that's all that Abrego Garcia has on his hand. And they added all this other stuff in. And Trump gets on national fucking television with Channel 8, ABC News, and fucking says, no, he has MS-13 clear as day tattooed on his hand. Thinking,
well, wait, how is a skull supposed to be a 3?
I don't know.
That makes no sense at all. That's like when the flat earthers would be like, look, there's a Roman numeral 3 behind him. 33. Yes.
Right.
What?
Yes, exactly. This is, and it's, I mean, like, the level of stupid you have to be to think that this is a real photo. I get he's 70 plus years old. I get he's old and whatnot, but he's got to have advisors that pull him aside and like, sir, no, this is not really here. This is just the tattoos.
No, I actually think it's the opposite now. I think what it is that he is their fall guy. He is their perfect patsy. He's so stupid that he will repeat anything that's told to him, and he doesn't know any better. Like, he can't discern.
No.
So the thing is, like, this, they get to basically do whatever they want to do by advising him to say and do these things. And then when it doesn't go well, they're going to be able to, they're all going to pull back and say, wow, it was him, not us. Like,
well, so he surrounds himself with people who are equally as stupid as this fucking moron. I mean, he's like, okay. It's just,
I don't think he's in control of. I think he's told, because he says things sometimes, and don't get me wrong, it could be like age is senility's kicking in and stuff. I don't want to suggest that 80-year-olds are like all losing their trees or something. But I do think that he has spent
This
so
is
much
a
time
guy
not
with-
actually thinking.
Well, but hang on a second. This is a guy with decades of cocaine abuse. I mean, decades of cocaine abuse. He's been fucking snorting cocaine since the 70s, at the very least. And yeah, Trump is surrounded by a lot of yes men. And it's not even so much that they're yes men, it's more that they love just shining his boots with their tongues. I was going to say something a lot worse, but we're just a couple of minutes in, so I don't want to, I don't want to get the whatever.
I don't know. Do you think the AI is good enough if he said wax in his poll? We're already demonetized. You're right.
Yeah. But did you see? Speaking of, did you see Pam Bondi when she talks about the fentanyl that's coming in? Oh my God, she gave up.
Did he save 200 and something million people?
It started out with what was it? 200
on,
to like 200,000 fentanyl pills. So he's saved at least. It started at like 50 million, and then it got up to 119, and now it's a third, like over a third. Now it's over half, like of the population of the United States. That's how many people he's saved. It's like, come the fuck on. And then you've got that fucking. This is how stupid this administration is. You've got that dumbass fucking RFK getting up and talking about half of China is diabetic. No, the fuck they're not. It's just not true. It's just not true.
I don't know where they'd even. They don't have enough. They're not even getting enough sugar half the time to be diabetic. You'd be better off accusing them of something more like cancer from chemicals or something than diabetic.
That's exactly right. If you don't fucking lie, make your lie believable.
Mind you, I wonder what the statistics of diabetes is in China.
I think it's something like 15%, give or take, like plus minus 2%. Okay, give me a standard curve, but I want to say it's around 15%. But he was talking about how America makes up 6% of the world's population, yet we use 75% of pharmaceuticals. No, the fuck we don't. That's just not true. And you have these idiots that believe this fucking guy. For what reason? I have no idea. I have no idea. I'll never understand.
This is the same guy that was like, bleach seems to kill shit. Maybe there's a way we get the bleach in the blood.
Oh, that's Trump all day long. Trump's like, let's internally take, like, what the fuck is the matter?
Maybe we get some UV light in there to kill all the biological stuff, including us.
I know. It's just, when summertime comes and everybody gets warmer, don't worry, that'll take care of it. Because like, fuck, these people are just stupid. Nothing you can say or do is going to convince me otherwise. The sheer stupidity that coming out, like, it's just insane. The insanity.
Wait, so you guys lost Hegseth the other day, finally, right? He actually stepped down.
Did he? No, that was
No, it's
Martin.
the Mark. What's his name? It's Matt. Yeah. Matt. Oh, what is his name?
I can't remember.
The other guy, the one that actually invited the person. That was.
Let's see here.
Why do I not know his name all of a sudden?
I can't remember either.
Yeah, it's like it's on the tip of my tongue, but somebody say it in the chat. It's only 12 of you. Say it, damn it.
Say it.
Who we got here?
I can't remember his name. Now I know they're calling for Hegseth to fucking step down because talk about dummies. There's another fucking idiot. Hegseth is a fucking moron. I'm gonna invite. Not only am I gonna, leak or talk about war plans, classified war plans inside of a signal chat once. I'm gonna do it again with my brother, my wife, and my lawyer. Fuck.
Everybody's like, why is his wife there? I mean, the thing is, I will say is that I'm sure that a lot of the wives of these people know a lot of shit that they're not supposed to know, and so I don't blame him for that part. But usually, hold on. Usually, the conversation happens in like, like in a house in a private setting when the kids are off playing and watching Bluey and shit.
Right.
Like, or what? Not like, did you know we're going to attack the Houthis? Like, fuck, goddamn. Okay.
Come on, man.
It's like he's super excited to talk, to act like a big boy and like puff his chest up and everything.
Yeah, he's a fucking hell. And it's not like we didn't say, hey, he's an idiot. Don't do it. Don't do it. And they're like, no, we're going to do it. Mike Waltz. Yeah, that's one. Thank you, Prosecco Rose.
Thank you. That's it. Mike Waltz. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like the sheer stupidity.
Prosecco Rose coming in with the answer.
There you go. Adam Strange, we're going to get to that here in a minute. We're going to talk about that particular comment you just made. What
which
elected
one?
persons
This
were
one?
running the country while Biden was mentally gone for 4 years? Is that really you're going to be saying? You can demonstrate that Biden was mentally gone for 4 years, right? You can do that. You can provide the evidence. Was he 100%? No, of course not. He's a 80-year-old man. But
I don't want to like call Andrew Stoll. I think I recognize that name. He's around a lot, right? I don't want to like chase him away or anything like
I'm
that.
not
We are
chasing
gonna
him.
listen.
Look, I'm gonna
No, no,
no.
no,
If you're gonna,
100%. We actually have some receipts that we're gonna bring to the title of this live stream. By the way,
Yes.
there's graphs that we're gonna show
Right.
and stuff. So we're not just, I'm not just like some bitch making a claim,
right.
you know,
And
because
here's
it's
the thing.
even once because they spent several years saying that the elections were stolen from them. Now it's like they set the stage for it to seem like such a bitch move for the left to be like, maybe you fucked around and be like,
Yeah.
oh, no, you're just saying that. It's like, yeah, but there's some very weird statistics coming out of your election that only specific swing states and like ridings that were important,
Right.
which is a little bit like it's crazy. That wait until you just stick with us. Just seriously, if like you can disagree, I love it. I welcome it.
Sure.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the sheer stupidity coming out of. I mean, it's Pam Bondi's an idiot. Fucking RFK Jr.'s an idiot. Donald Trump's a fucking idiot. I mean,
Biden was
Smith.
pretty mentally gone. Like, I mean, let's be honest.
so here's the thing.
Like, I don't think I'll just say this statement, then please continue. Like, I'm one of those people that firmly believes that the president, a good president, shouldn't be ruling like Trump wants to rule with like an
Right.
iron fist. Where because you live in a democracy, the president can't know everything. Even if he's
Right.
the smartest man on earth, he can't be in every meeting. He can't know every single thing happening. And so
Right.
what a president is supposed to do is listen to the information given to him, like take advice from his advisors and make conscious like decisions based on that information. And sometimes the decisions
Right.
might be the decision, like what's going to happen might not even be his idea. It might be one of his advisors' ideas.
Right.
So I don't think that he had to be like the situations they talk about. I mean, I don't know if that means that a guy can't like decide what happens in a country. However, I will say he was. I mean, America has this thing about electing like octogenarians into the political offices, right? So like,
Right. So that's kind of the point I was going to get to when we talk about the difference between 4 years, who was running for 4 years versus under Biden versus Trump, is that every single president from Washington to Trump they're not, like you said, they can't. It doesn't matter how intelligent they are. It doesn't matter how competent they are. It doesn't matter how good they are. There's not one president who's able to handle every bit of things that need to be handled by the administration, right? That's why they have cabinet members. That's why they have their, these people that can take multiple meetings, and then they sit down with the Joint Chiefs, they sit down with the cabinet members, and they have their daily powwows and talk about the important shit. And hey, I can't sit there and research everything I need to know about what's going on in Yemen, right? So I've got my Joint Chiefs, I've got military advisors, I've got my defense secretary, I've got Homeland Security. They're doing their stuff, and they're supposed to be somebody that I can trust to actually do the job competently. So the problem that we have here is when you make a statement like, well, who was running it? Well, Biden was blah, 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 blah. Biden hired people who were competent, and they were held accountable for mistakes they made. Whereas we have Pete Hegseth multiple times sharing fucking war plans and top secret
well,
shit.
you can tell it was that he was excited to be like 4:15, first package delivered.
Sure.
Like it was like he was playing fucking like
Call of Duty.
Like he was
Like he's
playing
playing
Call of Duty Black Ops kind
Right.
of thing. Like it was just the way it was typed. It was very like
yeah. Like he's literally got his phone in one hand and his something else in his other hand, and
oh yeah, he was jerking off while he typed that.
Yeah.
Just say it. YouTube will survive.
yes, he was probably you know what?
Yeah,
yes,
I got
we'll
you.
go with that. But it's
I'm
just
going to tell you right now. Actually, I do have to support him in one thing. If he was getting it on while he was doing that text, that is like I mean, you get top of masculinity. I will say.
I
It's like,
I don't
baby, you have
know.
no idea the text I'm sending right now.
No, I don't think he was with his wife because man, did you,
OPSEC is good. Like,
yeah. It's just
he
you know
was
how they
full
say
stroke.
you should never be drunk at the time. I think Pete Hegseth needs a lesson in that. Hey, don't
I think we
drink.
lost you just for a second there. At least I did. What
Did
was
you?
that saying?
I was going to say
Yeah,
we need Pete. You're not supposed to drink and text at the same time. No drunk texting. I think Hegseth needs to learn that lesson. Stop drunk texting. Just fucking hell. But no, I mean, so you've got yes. Did Biden do everything correct? Hell no, of course not. We busted his balls when he fucking made mistakes, and then we, moved on from that. Unfortunately, we can't move on from the whole Trump bullshit because Trump makes a mistake and leans into it. Like, I'm gonna not hold Pete Hegseth accountable. I'm gonna sit there and show this obviously photoshopped picture. And I'm going to say, no, look, he has literal MS13 tattooed on his knuckles.
isn't whiskey leaks that when you pee when you're drunk and it's like sounds like a diesel truck shutting off? Like you try, like it's surging because you're having troubles, doesn't it? When you're drunk as shit. Oh man,
I haven't been drunk in a long time, so I don't remember.
I don't drink that much typically. I'll be honest. I stop before I start getting into that territory. I don't like it when the world spins. Okay.
So the problem that and I don't like feeling out of control either. But that was the thing. Whenever I would start drinking, I was like, I'm still pretty good right now, and drink some more.
Well, the people Trump put in those positions aren't he talks about DEA and the best people for the job. He didn't pick the best people for the job. He picked people that are loyal.
That would slob his knob.
Yeah,
That's who he picked.
He picked people that were loyalists. They're not the best for the job. They're the best people to not argue with him when he decides to do certain things.
Right.
Or to fight him on things he wants to make happen. That's all the choices were, right? So,
no, I didn't forget. that. No, Trump does a lot of stupid shit. It's impossible.
That's still the funniest. How do you forget that one?
Yeah.
He's like, no. This is the path of the hurricane. He's like, they've added a fucking mark. No, it's absolutely gonna curl this way.
Right. No, Trump, it's not. Look, it's doing the thing that we told you it was going to do. No, it's not. You can clearly see by my Sharpie mark. Yeah, it's fucking hell. I mean, the sheer amount of stupidity that is coming out of this administration right now, and we're only 100 days in. Fuck me running, man. We've got a whole lot more days going. I don't know what we're going to do.
Okay, so let's jump into U.S. ports real quick here then.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do that first before we get into the other heavier topic here. So I'm sure other people have heard that. So I don't know how to explain this. So some of you probably already know. Some people might not. So the worst of these tariffs is about to happen to America.
Oh yeah.
And like let me explain for people who don't understand. So when he kicked in the first, like, it was like 10% naturally, sure, okay. So then he kicked in the 40% or so, let's say, and that was over a month ago or about a month ago. And so the thing is, people, like the average consumer in America hasn't felt anything yet. And they're like, oh, tariffs haven't affected anything. But that's because all of these businesses had been forward buying ahead of time. And
Right.
they're all bleeding off the stock they have. And of course, they don't want to raise prices because they want to make sure they get their sales and stuff.
Well,
and
if
so
you
there's a
look-
lot of stock.
If you look, prices have slowly been creeping up.
Well, of course they are, because as I have less and less of them, I'm going to start charging you more.
That's the point, right? So what they're
yeah.
doing is they're instead of it going from like, I have this item here that normally costs you $10, and then all of a sudden, well, now it's going to be $14 because of the 40% hike. It's $10 now, and then 2 weeks is going to be $10.98, and then it's going to be $11.12, and they're going to like slowly, and then when it gets time for the 40%, it's not going to be as noticeable. It's like the taper.
It's not just 40% though. The way they
No, I
calculate
understand.
them,
No, I understand. I'm
everything
just
thinks the
using
prices will just go up by the 40%, but there's
hang on.
fees along the way.
No, I
Yeah,
understand.
go ahead.
I'm just using those numbers for easy understand, like
Fair
so we
enough,
can
yeah.
see. You know what I mean? It's just no. I don't think it's actually. I know it's not actually 40% because again, like you're talking about their fees and whatnot. What I mean is to say it's 40% on $10 because it's easy. 40% of 10 is 4, so it's easy. Whatever. But It's just it's the tapered fucking anal beads. That's all this is, right? We're about to take a gigantic fucking, backdoor tickle from a very skinny to a very large tapered tickler.
Yeah. Yeah. So to continue though, so basically like there was the 40% tariffs, okay? So the thing is like we're just starting the ports in the last this last week and maybe next week
Yep.
are just receiving the goods that
Yep.
were shipped under 40% tariffs. And the thing is, so already the ports are a little low on ships. They're not empty. I got a video to kind of go over that. It's not as empty as some people portray. There's a
Right.
bit of, you got to get through the misinformation and then to the proper facts. But it is down about 20 something percent. Next week, they already know how many ships are on the ocean. Ports are going to be down 35 to 40% in how many ships are in them. That's fucking massive.
Yes.
And that's just at the 40%. And the other thing is that of the crates that are on those ships, some of them are going to be sent back.
Yep.
Because it's cheaper for these retailers, especially small retailers, when they're looking at something that costs them, we'll just use
$10.
$10. It's now going to cost them 14, or even there's some fees associated with how much it's complicated. But some of these might be 16,
roughly.
$16 or $17
Yeah.
or whatever. It's the way it compounds. So the thing is, they didn't project this. They're not going to sell very well. And there are companies out there already where people are like, why don't you make it in America? And they went, oh, okay. Actually, that's a great idea. And they did their math and they figured out how much it would cost to build it in America. And they put them up on the website, made all in America, American parts. 0 sales. Like 0 fucking sales. Not a single person is buying them because they don't want to pay that price. It's twice to 2.5 times more for the same product. Because as the product value goes up, the markup demand from the retailer is percentage based.
Right.
So they demand a higher percentage. And it's like arguably non-negotiable apparently with a lot of these retailers. Like they want their 25% or their 30%. So as the initial build cost of the item goes up, the markup at the store continues to go up too. And when you actually add it up, it's not 40%. It's like 60, 70, 80% in some cases, the way it
Right.
compounds
So that's
up.
what people don't seem to understand. Is like 40% inbound tariffs at 40% affects the retailer, or it affects the importer, right? So it's the what's the word I'm looking for? We used to call it ProNet pricing or ProNet. It's what if I'm a retailer, right? Let's say I'm Walmart, right? And I buy televisions from China and I normally pay $100, and this is just bad math, or this is bad numbers, but if I pay $100 per television, now those TVs are going to cost me $140 plus, all the other bullshit on top. It's not like you're only going to see a $40 increase on that television, because that television that you're spending $100 on, I'm selling it for, we'll say $300, right? 3x. That's roughly what markup is going to be, 3x on some items.
Not on
right?
a TV. I think
No, I know, not on a TV. No. I understand
TVs
that.
are like paper thin margins.
No, I understand. I know, like, because whenever we would do, whenever we sold, when I worked at Toys R Us, we did like video game systems themselves were like $2 markup, right? If it
it's crazy.
if it was $199, we paid $197 for it. The money is to be made on the games, right? So the game would cost $10. We charge $40 for it to make $30 profit on the game.
No, that's fair.
Right.
Smaller items have larger markups. Is the idea?
Well,
is the idea.
it's not
TVs
necessarily. It's not necessarily smaller items, right? Because
I just know that TVs I just knew specifically that TVs have very little, because I knew a guy who could get like factory direct pricing, and he's like you'd be shocked at how little difference there is.
Oh,
between
yeah,
factory
right.
direct price on a TV.
Better example
versus
is
the store price.
Sure, and again, it's not. So when I worked at Guitar Center, I sold guitars, and I would look at profit margins. We had A, B, and C profit margins on every single item at Guitar Center, right? There are some amps that we sold at a markup, which means 30%, roughly. It's roughly 30%. So if we sold it for $2,000, 30% take away, that's about what we paid for it, right? But there are some things that were C price, which means like Mesa Boogie was notorious for this. Mesa Boogie would make a product, amplifier. They would say, you're going to charge $2,700 for this. And we'd be like, well, what's the markup? like if you don't sell it at $2,700, A, we're going to pull it from you because you're not allowed to sell for anything less than $2,700 unless we tell you can. But B, you're not going to make any money because we have what we call pro net pricing. So you make what you make, right? So it depends on it depends on the manufacturer. It depends on the brand, right? So it's not necessarily sizes. But televisions are generally, I think they're like 5% markup, give or take, roughly ish, if I remember correctly. But again, I was using a TV as an example. Okay.
No, 100%.
You derailed me with your fact checking. I was told there's not going to be fact checking.
No, you mean fact checking. So the thing is, okay.
The point that I was trying to make was, you're not just going to pay the 40% increase because profit margins have to stay the same for shareholders, and if the profit margin isn't the same, shareholders will be like, hey, what the fuck's going on? So they're going to jack the price up even more.
Yeah, but okay, so you have that effect, and then it compounds in a way that people don't expect. If Walmart's the one importing it, that's actually the best case scenario because there's no middleman. Right. A lot of these products have middlemen. Right. And the middleman needs to make money too, or the company that's producing the product needs to import it to a warehouse in America first, and then they sell it to their suppliers. Right. And so a lot of these things, like I'm waiting, for instance, I ordered a 3D printer, never owned one before. My kid and I have a project to work on. I thought I'll buy a cheap 3D printer. It's a really good deal from Elegoo, and the thing is, I'm waiting for all the Americans to cancel their orders so I can get mine faster. So because they've probably been, like, a lot of those orders are pre-orders for a few months down the road. So the company hasn't changed their price on their website because they're probably just sitting back and seeing if it changes before these orders have to go out. Right. Because when these orders go out, they're tariffed on the price of the tariffs when they leave the port. Right. So basically, those $400 3D printers are going to be, well, under the current system, they're going to be like $1,000 3D printers, like $400 to $1,000. Like, think about that. Like, you're sending that bitch back. Yeah. Like, you're going to be like, no, they're going to be like, hey, listen, so the prices changed. It's going to be $1,000 now instead of $400. You're going to be like, cancel order. Like, that's all there is to it. So to continue forward. Anyways, we're at the point now where in the next couple weeks, like late next week, the week after, is when the real tariff times, like the amount of shipments coming in from the tariffs are really going to hit. And even though shipping's going to be down like 40-something%, which is a lot. It's like, think about that. It's almost half the products that used to come into your country are not coming in. And then of those shipments, those retailers, some of them are going to send it back. They're going to say, I can't afford this, and they're going to pay to send the products back to China. So those ships aren't even completely going to get unloaded. Like, they'll unload them and they'll put some of these crates back on and send them home. There's
a lot of, like, your smaller businesses aren't going to have the upfront capital to be able to pay the incoming tariffs. They just don't. So they can't afford.
Oh, they're not going to.
Yeah,
and we can jump in. I can show you an example here if you want. Here, I've just got to. The only thing I haven't done yet is. Okay, so I'm going to start with this first, real quickly, and then I'll jump into the one I was thinking of just now here. So hold on here. I've actually been watching this guy Vaush lately. He's kind of interesting, or Vosh, I think it's pronounced. Either way. So look at this part. Hold on,
person who promised a link, but here's Temu things.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Plenty of people are malding there. Oh, you want to see malding? Take a look at this. Look at this.
Here, hold on. We'll go back one more. Where is it? Right here? No. I was sure there was another one there. No, maybe that's the one. Okay, let's just
people are malding there. Oh, you want to see malding? Take a look at this. Look at this. So this is Temu, again, slop drop shipping from China. 182 discounted to 111.15. Import charges 123.11. Order total 246.67. Kablamo! There's your tariffs, buddy. It took a while for the tariff pricing to really kick in because, again, a lot of the stuff was already on its way. A lot of the stuff hadn't been factored in, priced in. But yeah, no, here we go. It's beginning. Keep in mind that an abominable number of Americans use Temu every single day. I don't know how many exactly. I've seen some people say it's like 100 million. I don't know if that's true. It wouldn't surprise me because we're a disgusting slop country. It's happening. A pissed Trump called Jeff Bezos after learning Amazon considered...
So, and there's another one. I think there was another one here. Is it right here?
What's up, Shiz?
What's up, Shizzy? He had another one here where the person ordered a dress for their daughter for $19, and it became 50 something.
Gosh.
Is that the one right here? Here, maybe this is it right here. Here you go. Here.
Number floating around. Mind blown and pissed off, my granddaughter found the perfect dress for her uncle's wedding on Temu. It was marked down to $19. I went ahead and ordered it, but after I hit the purchase now button, I got a receipt for $54. I couldn't figure out what I did wrong, so I went to my receipt and look what happened. I was charged a $31.44 import fee. The dress was only $19. No more Temu for me. Hey. Wonder who this person voted for. If they voted at all. Maybe this gets people to not buy slop? Yeah, in the same sense that, like, people were probably purchasing less blood diamonds during the Great Depression.
That's the funniest fucking thing. This guy is actually, like, right on target. He's very smart. I think it's funny. Yeah, the same way the Great Depression caused less blood diamonds. So, if you will, is he trying to say basically like, yeah, but it's not through positive means, right? Like, right. It's not like the choice was made to buy less of the products. The choice was kind of like made for them economically. Sure. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so here's a problem with everything that's going on right now with pricing and whatnot. We saw it with gas, right? So I started driving back, and I know there's some people who started driving whatever. I remember gas being, like 59 cents, 60 cents, you know what I mean? I started driving when it was right around 80 cents to $1. And then...
Are you talking about per gallon?
Yes.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I've never even lived in that world. Like, we pay higher gas prices than you, but like, I remember 30-something cents a liter.
Yeah.
Which would still be...
It's like $1.10.
Even with...
Ish.
Well, yeah, but then you with an exchange too. You're even like
yeah.
Like mine's worth like so yeah. It would be like $1, let's say, or something a gallon, I guess, but still dollar something. Well, you guys have small gallons too, so it's hard to compare. But
whatever,
tiny little gallons.
It does. You're focusing on the wrong part of the story, Beaver.
Keep going, buddy.
What I was saying was when I started driving, we saw. Yeah, it was. Let's guess. I remember driving across from fucking, one side of the coast to the other side of the coast and not paying any more than 80 cents a gallon. This is decades ago, obviously.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. And then it was funny because my father, and I started to sound more and more like him the older I get, but my father was...
Back in my day.
No shit. He didn't have the, he wasn't a redneck. So he was, man, this gas price. When I started driving, it was 5 cents a gallon. Like, fuck. But that's kind of the point, right? So we've got these companies that get together and then they drive up and jack up the price of a good, for instance, gasoline. And we saw it during Bush Jr. when gas prices got up to like $5 a gallon on average, right? And then they came down. Great, like, oh great, they came down, but now they're hovering around $3 a gallon, which is 3 times what it was when I started driving. We're not seeing $1 a gallon again. That's not going to happen. It's just not. It will not happen again unless some major global destabilization event happens.
Well, this is the thing. People have a hard time. Like, even with the current election, you got a lot of right-wing people in Canada being like talking about like, oh, the Carney's going to make the price of gas go through the roof and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know how he could. It's a goddamn global commodity.
Right.
Like, they don't even understand how commodities are traded. Like right. It's unless he like taxes it specifically or something before the pump, that's not the way that's going to work, because the price of oil is kind of like a global thing. It's right. Dictated as a global commodity.
Right.
Because there's so much of it traded and sold and bought and purchased, and that it's got a price. Like, that's the price per barrel for that type of oil.
Exactly. And see, that's why I'm not one of these guys that blames one specific person or another for the price of gas. I'm just using gas because it was one that is the most reticent, the one that most people can latch onto and understand. Because again, we saw gas prices hit in the States, national average around $5.50 during the height of the Bush administration. I'm not saying it was because of Bush, okay? Let's make sure. There was a lot of things that happened that drove the price of gasoline up. But gas has come down.
That
but
was when OPEC. That's when the OPECs were
right. It was
closing. They were closing the
yes.
valves pretty tight, and America wasn't fracking yet. So the thing is, America was at a low point in oil production, was it not? While
There was a
OPEC
whole.
had.
There was a
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
whole
OPEC had
yeah.
a larger piece of the global pie at that point, I think.
Right. No, for certain.
And they were tightening the valves because they were like, haha, we're getting more and more money for every barrel as we tighten the price up
Right.
here as we.
Yeah.
So
no,
yeah, that was a
for certain.
whole thing, right?
Right. So again, I'm not saying that I'm not. Well, Bush did this and Bush did that. There's some policies that Bush pushed during his administration that I didn't agree with that could have affected the price of gas. I don't think it was as drastic as what we saw. Simply
Premium. What kind of car do you got? Ooh. I'm just like got to put the pinky out while I drink. How do I do that?
like that.
You know,
I
drink
yeah.
tea with the pinky out.
Yeah, pinky out.
My car takes premium too. I'm just being a jackass.
I'm probably supposed to put premium in, but I can't afford
It depends on the vehicle you have. Like my wife's vehicle is a Ford Edge. It's got like twin turbos in it, and it doesn't need premium. But then there's my car is a WRX with a turbocharger and intercooler, and it needs premium. So it's just the compression ratio. It's what they designed it for.
I think I'm supposed. If I remember correctly, I was supposed to be putting in premium, but I was like, "Fuck that shit, man! You piss off." I'm gonna
Mostly CBD.
mostly
THC's been hitting me a little weird. I don't know. I'm having like restless leg syndrome or Parkinson's. I'm not sure which yet.
That's just getting old, man. The older we get.
No, listen, it's very electrifying, okay? And then the thing is like it's like borderline an anxiety thing because I feel it. And it's like a phantom sensation. And then if I have something with too much THC, like I used to just 90-something%, it was the vapes. But like now it's like I take one puff of that and I'm like, I'm freaking out, man. Like it's not going well. But yeah, so other than that,
all I'm
Sorry, go
saying
ahead.
is that what these people are doing, what this administration is doing, is helping price gouge. 'Cause
95 van doesn't care.
yeah. I had
Yeah, it's true.
I had a '94 Caravan at one point that was just like, I don't give a fuck as long as it's got some sort
I'm
of.
gonna tell everybody there's a myth. If anybody's ever told you that premium runs better, unless your vehicle is designed for premium, it doesn't give you any benefit at all.
100%.
If it is designed for premium, you have to put premium in it. Like it's because it doesn't have to do with like the cleanness of the fuel. I mean, most people know this, so I feel like I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know. But it has nothing to do with like the cleanness of the fuel or any of that stuff. It has to do with the level of octane, which is the suppressant to combustion. And if you put regular fuel in a vehicle that requires premium, what happens is you get knocking because as the cylinder comes up and compresses the fuel, it gets hot because anytime you compress a gas, it starts getting hot and it's a vapor. There's a fuel vapor in with the gas. And then as it compresses, what happens is it gets so hot that it wants to combust before the spark even goes off. And if it combusts while the cylinder's on its upstroke, it basically like it hits the cylinder on its way up and it fucks with the shaft of the cylinder and it can blow the engine right apart ultimately. But like, yeah, that's where knocking comes from because you get like a weird, it's actually combusting early. So what premium does is it actually brings the octane level up in the fuel, which is the suppressant to ignition. And it makes it so as the cylinders, as it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, it doesn't combust until the spark plug because gasoline vehicles are not diesel. They need the spark plug to be part of the timing. And so when they hit it with the spark plug, then you get the combustion because it's right on the verge of combusting and boom. Yeah. So it's like, it's a very mechanical thing. But back when I was younger, I remember when I was a teenager, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, I put premium in it. It has more hop. Like, bro.
That's not how that works. Unless you're putting jet fuel in, then you don't, you're not getting.
I will say though that my wife's Kia seemed to have a slightly less, it had a little less like those GDRs or GD, whatever, the engines that are exploding on GDIs, those GDIs or whatever that are in the Kia Sorrentos and stuff like that, they're fucking bombs waiting to explode. They have engine problems from production.
Yeah, I'll never buy Kia. I remember when they first came out, they were pieces of shit back then. They're pieces of shit.
Well, the Sorrento was a good vehicle. It's just they have an engine problem. The Kia Hyundai has never solved that engine problem yet.
Yeah.
So they every single Hyundai or Kia you buy has a time bomb under the hood that's going to go off at about 100 and something thousand kilometers. So, jet fuel is kerosene. It's true. Wow. Yes, it is true.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, it's like Av fuel isn't though. That stuff's like pretty blue. I don't understand. I used to fly with my dad. You'd have to take the little cup, and you'd go to like the low point in the engine. You'd push it on a little like there's a little nipple in there. You'd push this little spike onto, and it would pour a bit of gas out of the very bottom of the fuel tank into your little clear cup, and you'd swish it around like it was some brandy. And you'd look for water to make sure water hasn't been getting in the fuel, because that's where the water will go. Is it'll sink to the bottom there.
So that's what you got to worry about when you talk about gasoline is the water content, right? The more water is worse gas. So there you go. If you're concerned
And in
about
a plane engine, you just don't want it.
you just don't want water, yeah.
I mean, in a vehicle, you stall and pull over. In an airplane, the engine stops and shit goes south real quick, because you can glide for a little bit, especially in a little Cessna or like a little like personal aircraft. You're not going far.
Oh, holy shit!
You don't have a lot of height.
This is we are not even. We're 47 minutes in. We haven't even talked about the title, but because we've been squirreling this whole.
We were talking about.
A little bit. Yeah, that's true. But
we squirrel hard, baby.
Oh fuck, man! This is what happens when we get two ADHD kids in the same fucking shot. What was I gonna say? Now I even squirreled about squirreling. What the fuck? So this guy was like, I got this personal airplane that you don't need a pilot's license for and whatnot. It's like this little teeny tiny thing. So yeah, I just fly this around from time to time, and like there's no cockpit. Well, there's a cockpit, but there's no. It's not enclosed. And it doesn't get too high. It doesn't get so high. You know what I mean? It's like this little fucking thing. It goes like 90 miles an hour. I'm like, that's it.
You're talking about an ultralight?
Yes. And
ultralights, you don't even need a fucking license to fly.
That's what I just said. That's what I prefaced.
Yeah. That's the thing. You could literally make one out of a lawnmower engine if you want and take off. I mean, it's like there's no rules.
Right.
Like as long as you're under a certain altitude at a certain speed or weight of aircraft, it becomes like a hobby. It's like you going in the backyard with balloons and tying them to a fucking lawn chair. Like they don't see it any differently. Like
there was a guy years ago, I think it was in California, who did that, he wanted to fly, but he couldn't pass his exam to get his pilot's license. So he fucking gets he gets a whole bunch of weather balloons. Now this may be a total bullshit story, but
I feel like this one is the one where the kid was up there. That turns out the kid wasn't up there, but I feel like the guy that flew with the balloons was real.
Yeah, so
he was, and there's like shots of him like way the fuck up there.
Yeah. He gets a whole bunch of weather balloons and ties it to a lawn chair or some shit, and he's got like an anchor. He just wanted to go high enough to feel like he was flying, and he took a rifle with him so he could shoot the balloons out when he was ready to come down.
Oh, I think it was a BB gun.
Oh,
I think he actually brought a BB gun. Yeah. No, I've heard this one before.
So he gets up there, and all of a sudden he's like, I want to, he starts to freak out because he shoots up really quick. And then he starts to freak out a little bit. So he goes to shoot the balloons, and it's not working. So I don't know if I think he shoots the rope or some shit.
Known as lawn chair Larry. It says Larry attached 45 helium-filled weather balloons to a lawn chair. He named the Inspiration I, or Inspiration 1, I guess. He brought along a BB gun to shoot balloons when he wanted to descend. A parachute. Hey, listen, at least he had a parachute. Smart guy. Yeah. Sandwiches and a camera and a CB radio. His plan was to float gently up a few hundred feet, then drift over the Mojave Desert. But the reality had another idea. He shot up to nearly 16,000 feet. That's higher than some small planes fly. Yes. He drifted into controlled airspace over LAX.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually he used the BB gun to descend and got tangled in power lines, in Long Beach, causing a brief blackout, but was unharmed. The aftermath. He was fined by the FAA, which is awesome, for flying an unlicensed aircraft and entering restricted airspace. He became a minor celebrity appearing on talk shows. His lawn chair ended up in the Smithsonian. So there you go. His lawn chair's in the Smithsonian.
There you go.
It earned him a permanent place in both aviation folklore and what were you thinking history. No, Balloon Boy was fake in the end. So Balloon Boy was the one where the entire city, like they were trying everything. The military was involved in trying to like get this balloon. There was like a basket with balloons on it or something down. And in the end, it turned out to be like a huge hoax. And there were repercussions, I think, for the family. Anyways, all right, let's get us back on track. So To give you another example, so Val's just showing the TMU orders. And by the way, Prosecco Rose, I saw you talking about how Amazon had apparently had the idea, the audacious idea of letting Americans know why they were paying so much for their product.
Right. Yeah.
And they got called out by the White House as a what was it? It was what was the wording? Terroristic or no? Yeah, it's actually in the Vouch.
Yeah,
in the Vouch video here. They said it was a right here. Here, I can just what I'll do is I'll just go back to it actually because
yeah.
Hold on, I got to get a different tab here though. Oh yeah,
the oligarch press secretary talking about Amazon today. Oh sure, I'll get the little snippet.
Mr. Secretary, so it was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay?
Yep.
I love how this guy asking the question is like, do you see now that what we've been telling you is what was going to happen? And then
but they have to like
no,
it's her this way though. Oh no, 100%. I think it's funny the way they have to broach these things because it's like they're talking to a fucking toddler.
Oh yeah.
But the reality is that these people know that what they're saying is bullshit. They know what they're saying is bullshit. That's the worst part. The press have to be like, so like, don't you maybe think that possibly that this could potentially maybe be negative and like that maybe the people won't like this and like they have to like baby foot their fucking way into these questions now so that this super sensitive regime basically can like then lie to their face, which is what you're about to see.
Yes.
So here.
For these policies?
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon.
That's the level we're at, man.
Listen.
It's hostile and political to show the price. Price transparency is hostile and political.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, there is like no level of reconstruction we could do after we take back the country that would be overdoing it. It's
like that's and he nailed it, by the way.
Right.
Like the idea that telling the consumer why they're paying, like giving them proper price transparency is now a hostile act to the government.
Yep.
Yeah, that's insane. And then so on that same note, to go back to, I'm going to jump right into this other one. This guy here does a good job at also breaking it down. So let's listen to a little bit of what he has to say. I'm going to speed him up, though, so we can keep moving here. 1.5. See how chipmunky he gets?
Really to bring back manufacturing jobs, or are they just some sort of bargaining chip? I want to do a really quick update because I just got another tariff bill for an import that just came in a few days ago, and I don't think Americans really know what is coming. The average citizen hasn't felt any pain yet. Business owners have. I owe thousands of dollars, but you probably haven't noticed anything at all. Shelves are still full at stores, prices are probably about the same, but that's about to change, and here's why. In case you didn't watch the first video, one of my side businesses is a hot sauce company called Olivium, and
by the way, if I'm going to play some of his content, then I might as well rep the product. Hey, check out Olivium hot sauce.
You know what?
I assume this guy at F Stoppers probably has a link. Oh, there you go, right there. See?
Sweet. You should put that link so I can find it, so I can look at the sauce. Because you know I like hot sauce.
I can definitely grab that link in a second here.
And the sauce itself is made in Florida, but the bottles, boxes, and lids are all made in China. My shipment that just showed up a few days ago was ordered in December of last year. It's been 4 or 5 months now. It took them a while to manufacture it, and then it takes a month or two for it to arrive by boat. Trump has been adding tariffs slowly, 10 and 20% for fentanyl or something, and then 40% because of a trade imbalance, and then now, for some reason, we're up to 145%. And I was under the impression that I was going to have to pay for that. And I had made up my mind, if those bottles arrive and I owe 145%, I'm just going to throw them away. It's literally cheaper for me to throw them away than it is to pay that ridiculous tariff. Luckily, after speaking with my broker, I realized I didn't have to do that. And most importers have 2 options in this situation. If your products arrive and you don't want to pay the tariff, you can either pay to hold them in the local warehouse if there's room, which there probably won't be room for long, but that could also cost thousands of dollars a month, or you can pay to ship it back to China, and then you have to pay to hold it somewhere in China. Luckily, all of these Trump tariffs do not apply to imports that are currently on the water. My shipment hit the water right in the middle of Trump making all of these crazy tariffs, and then some days removing tariffs, and then adding more the next day. So trying to figure out exactly what I owe has been impossible for me to do, but I certainly thought that my broker would be able to do it, being that that's his full-time job.
I don't know. I can't keep up with it. It changes every day. A different story comes out on the news. So we just can't keep up with it.
Anyway, here's the main reason I wanted to make this video. The Trump tariffs were not instantaneous. I thought they were. Everything you see on the news is like, oh, everything's shut down. It's not working anymore. But here's what I failed to realize, and here's what most of you probably didn't know either. It can take 2 to 3 months for a ship to get from China all the way to the US. And remember, these tariffs did not take effect if your boat was already on the water. And so we have just now arrived at the point where the 145% tariff is actually being implemented. My shipment just showed up a couple of days ago and I only owe 45%. So I had to make the decision, what do I want to do? Do I want to pay this tariff and get my products out? Or do I want to look into holding it at the port and hoping this all blows over? Hi, I have a shipment that has just...
I mean, I'll cut that out. He calls and she's like, doesn't have an idea what he's talking about holding it at the port. So he's like, well, that went well. But yeah, so...
Well, that's part of the problem, too. That's part of the problem, too, is that people don't know what the fuck they're supposed to do. And people who should know what we're supposed to do don't know what the fuck we're supposed to do. Like, he's talking to his broker. What should I do? I don't fucking know.
Well, and how do you give somebody advice when it might change tomorrow? Now,
exactly.
Can you answer something for me? Because I'm confused at this point. There's been so much tariff on, tariff off, tariff on, tariff off, tariff. Somebody's been like a fucking child playing with a light switch.
Right.
That I've lost track of where we are. So I had heard inklings of that they've like stopped the tariffs with China, but was that just that they brought it down from 249% back to 149, or are they down to 40 again, or what are we? Where are we in this whole thing at this point?
And that's the problem. It's tough to keep up because there was a point where it was going to be right my alley, the hot sauce. There was a point where it was 145% on everything, and then but some things were going to let through, some like the electronics and shit that. Like Best Buy and Target and Walmart are like, hey, Trump, don't fucking do this because that's really going to hit our fucking pockets. I don't know.
I can't buy this in Canada, apparently.
What's that? Oh, the sauce?
This fucking hater. I'm still put the link up for his hot sauce, but goddamn this guy.
Son of a bitch.
It says he can't, it doesn't ship to my, I don't know, maybe it's the address. I'll try changing the address.
Oh, it's because you went to Amazon. You need to go to Canadian Amazon.
I clicked on his link. Oh, I see. He won't sell that on Canadian Amazon, though. Those bastards, they're
he's
haters.
an American company, so he probably doesn't.
Well, he probably pays. In his defense, he's probably getting tariff now already. So.
Yeah, you know what he should do? He should set up a small importing warehouse in Canada, in Moose Country.
In Moose Country. Oh fuck. Have you ever seen that off topic? But have you ever seen that clip of the moose fighting? And it's got fucking that one actor's voice. Ma, get the camera. There's some fucking moose or some shit out here.
Yeah, that's
funniest.
That's Michael Rappaport. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen, did it? Like that's added on.
Yeah, no, that's added on because he does it with a lot of videos. Like there was that one where that dude shat in the fucking janitor's bucket in the middle of.
Michael Rappaport does voiceovers to videos?
Yeah.
Or is this? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I literally didn't know that. I know that I watch like Aussie Man reviews where he puts his voice into like bears and like different animal, like viral animal. clips and stuff.
No, so Rappaport does that. There was one like that lady with the bear, where she was, come on, bear, don't big my kayak, Mr. Bear. And he does one over that, and then. The guy who shat in the fucking subway, he was like, this guy's shitting in the bucket. He does a fair few of them, but yeah.
All right. You were saying, I think, something, were you?
I don't remember I don't know how much the damn China tariffs are going to be.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's what we were talking about. So
right now it's 10. Who knows? Who fucking knows? Donald Trump has placed tariffs up to 140% on China, 145%. Also introduced a 10% tax on goods from the vast majority of other countries.
I'm trying to pause it. Sorry.
I think it's 140. Well, we couldn't hear anyway. I don't think you hadn't shared. You hadn't did the thing. It's 145%. I think still 145%.
It's this fucking.
Yeah.
Ma, come outside. There's a fucking moose or a buffalo or some shit. They're fighting. Where the fuck are you going? Ma! Holy shit! This
Look, he
is some
pushed him right into the fucking
National
truck.
Geographic shit. Ma, call a fucking cops or the ASPCA. There's animals fighting in the front lawn.
He's in the back of the truck.
Oh shit! Oh.
Anyways, that
fucking
always
truck-
made me laugh.
That fucking
That truck gets
is
it.
fucked,
Yeah, it gets fucked. It gets
It's
fucked
like
up.
that. What was it? The Tommy Boy, where they pick up the deer and the deer fucks up that dude's car.
Because it waked up in the back of the car. It's like one of the most iconic episodes, or parts of the show. I mean, or parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Fucking just hoofs going through like this. I seen a video where I don't know how they got a fucking giraffe in a vehicle, but that video is disgusting because it doesn't end well for the giraffe.
Oh,
It's like fucking
Speaking
cutting
of
itself
fucked
apart
up-
on the fucking vehicle and stuff. It's
Speaking of
almost
fucked up
disgusting,
videos.
really.
did you see that chase that was on 210 the other day?
I heard something about a chase. I didn't know. I just heard inklings of about a high-speed chase. Was there a wicked high-speed chase?
It was terrible. It was fucking ridiculous. I watched the chase video, and this is all live. They're broadcasting this shit live on television, mind you, right? And this fucker is like 110 miles an hour. Now, police have like given him all the road. They're just following with a helicopter. So there was no real. Yeah, there you go. I see the little window down there.
Is that the one?
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Okay. Oh, you can see the window at the bottom? Oh, shit.
Yeah, very small though.
didn't know.
Very small.
I didn't know you could see that, though.
Yeah.
So you saw all the prawn on there? No, I'm kidding.
Oh no.
The prawn is for after the show, okay, everybody? Get a hold of yourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
To get to you.
This was live.
This situation.
Make sure we're not time and a half. Yeah, we're not.
Yeah,
All right, let's go out to our partners, Fox 11.
Well, you don't have to mute it because the fucking...
Yeah, we can talk.
Yeah. So this fool is just like, oh, it's so bad. And when we actually get to the wreck, you can
Here's a
skip
good
ahead.
shot where we can see some speed. Hey, he's moving pretty good.
This
Oh, does it
person's
wreck?
Oh yeah, dude. It's and when you're watching this real time, it's about to happen. It's about to happen.
It's right there.
So go to
It's
full
right up.
screen.
It's right up here.
Yeah, go full screen. Oh, you skipped
okay,
it.
here. I skipped it. Okay.
All right, go full screen.
I am full screen. Oh
Okay,
shit,
cool.
am I not? Here,
No, you
there
are. No, you are. You're full screen. Right. So this person is just like. Here's the thing. This is what I hate about traffic and people driving is that you should be pulling over to get the fuck out of the way, because this is not going to end well. You see this shit happening, like get the fuck out of the way. Right.
No, if somebody like goes going by me like this, I just usually slow down a little bit and let them get way ahead
Let
of me.
them way.
Yeah. Because if somebody's driving shitty enough, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting near that. What?
Right.
Like, this is their feed, obviously.
Yeah.
This is still playing, everybody. I think we're just having some technical difficulties at the Fox News station.
Oh, go figure. All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, passes this fucking car here, and then it comes up on this truck. Yeah, right on the bridge. This truck. Where's the fucking? No. It's fuck.
He's
Dude,
about
this-
to crash right, like.
As soon as he passes this white car,
It's like
the second-
30
yeah,
seconds.
right? And here comes this work truck, and this fucker just eats it. And dude, it looks terrible. It looks fucking horrific.
All right, I'm ready. It's gonna be any second now, everybody.
Now, you'll see an orange truck. They'll pull out. You see this orange truck, and he just fucking eats it.
He's zooming. 150.
Boom.
Holy shit! Oh my god! It tore the fucking side of the vehicle off.
Yes, and
Oh my god! That's like
real
the
time.
driver's seat.
so
Hold
yeah,
on.
real time. They thought that was a fucking body coming getting pulled out, and they go back and look at it, and it's actually just the side. That's the airbag, but that's the side of the fucking. It looks like. Yeah, that looked like
Oh,
real
he
time.
is so hurt. I mean,
Yeah.
Even if he's alive, he is so in.
He's not feeling good.
Hey, YouTube. Everyone was all right. There was no injuries in this incident.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, none at all. There's nothing terrible happened here.
But when you're watching that was broadcast live and real time without the slow mo. That motherfucker
Looks
looks
like
like
it's. You're right. It
pulled
looks
the
like he
driver
come out of the vehicle and he's being
Yeah.
like dragged.
Yeah.
Okay, that's insane here. So one more time for the fun of it, boys and girls.
Yep.
Here we go.
Smack.
Oh, goddamn. That's amazing that, it's kind of impressive. I'll be honest
it
with you. It's
wasn't the guy.
impressive. Well, yeah, that's just like a RAV4 or something like that,
Something
first
like
of
that,
all.
yeah.
It's like one of those, it's a Toyota or something. Oh, it's a Honda.
Yeah.
It was a Honda. Now it's a Smush. But
Now it's like
Actually, that's a
niche.
neat pause spot right there. Look at that. You can see that it's like, I think that's the back tire down here.
Probably.
Oh yeah, that's the tire. That's the tire right there. Like,
Yeah.
Rip the back tire right off.
Oh yeah.
Or am I wrong? No, I might be wrong. It's just a lot of debris. No, I'm wrong because that's the
door.
They're still tired there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right. That's amazing.
But yeah, so the fucking guy was like, "Oh, we don't want to show that. Don't zoom in. Don't zoom in." The guy in the helicopter.
They zoom right in.
They were like, "No." He was like, "Don't. We don't want to show this. We don't want to show this," because in real time it looked like a body. But yeah, the first time I saw
ripped open the side of that car. California Highway Patrol making their way over there right now. I'm looking for some kind of acknowledgement. If I can push in a little closer, if I should stay wide. It looks like they are taking the person out of the.
Yeah,
that was a pretty limp person coming out of the side of that.
Oh, they're not feeling good right now.
Yeah, they're in bad shape. Let's put it that way.
But in real time, it looks like the fucking body got ripped out of that motherfucker. I was like, holy shit. Because it stops like almost instantaneously afterwards.
By the way, Eric, so I got one more thing I'll show you here, and then about ports. And then if I can, I actually have one more little thing, and then we'll jump into the next topic here. This is, by the way, so this is CBC. CBC blocks comments on their channel. I think they're afraid of all the...
Yeah.
I don't know. They get criticized a lot for all kinds of bullshit. It's kind of bullshit because, like, this is pretty decent reporting when you watch this. Okay, so this is what I would consider like fairly neutral reporting. Okay, and remember, this is Canadian. So the thing is, like, by rights, most Canadians would be okay if they were like, those dumb fucking Americans, look what happened. Like, so for the like, truthfully, right? So like the fact that they don't do that is kind of a testament to the quality of the reporting. And that's my opinion, mind you. And, other people might have a different opinion, but anyway, so here.
They're saying the ports of LA and Seattle are empty.
There are no shipping containers. It is empty.
And saying Trump's tariffs against China.
Here's Los Angeles, one of our busiest ports.
Nobody's there for this song.
No ships carrying Chinese goods are docking.
Did you really?
Ships right here in the water.
No, I will though.
Oh.
It's not a big
But
deal. It's
some
just
are claiming the situation isn't.
You can guarantee the music. It's like if 11 seconds of the wrong thing and you're getting tagged.
That's so stupid.
Is the port of Seattle empty of ships and containers? No.
So what's really going on?
Somewhere in
Take
between
this
people.
video of the port in Seattle.
Well, hold on. They actually do. This is what I'm saying. Like, watch. They actually kind of debunk some of it, but they give the actual facts.
Yeah.
It looks deserted, right? But the thing is, this particular area, Terminal 46, has been closed as a cargo terminal for years. So these visuals aren't fake, but they are misleading. And there's a similar issue in LA. These videos make the port look empty.
You should see containers there. There's nothing.
But in both these videos, you're only seeing a sliver of the whole busier port. So we tracked down real-time shipping data for both ports, and you can see cargo ships continuing to arrive from April 23rd to the 30th. So does that mean there's no problem? Well, as usual, it's not quite that simple. Data shows shipping traffic was actually up in the Northwest in the first quarter of the year, and the port of Seattle itself
a bunch of
is
overbuying.
downplaying concerns.
Well, yeah, they that's the thing. They in fact, I don't know if they mentioned it in this one though.
But importers have been forward buying, stocking up in anticipation of tariffs.
Yep.
And shipping experts quoted by US media suggest traffic is set to slow down substantially in the coming weeks or months. And the port of LA, the busiest in the Western Hemisphere, is already bracing for slowdowns.
And it's a precipitous drop in volume with a number of major American retailers.
By the way, 1 week ago, these same ports were like, there's nothing changing here. The ports are still very busy. It's 1 week later, and they're like, whoa. I've seen another one. I think the port of Seattle was also saying the same thing. They're like, holy shit. So
stopping all shipments from China based on the tariffs.
And that's led these three CEOs to personally lobby the president, reportedly warning about the possibility of empty shelves soon.
Yep.
It can take around 30 days for ships to make their way from China to LA. That means it could be early to mid-May before we'd see the real impact of those tariffs that hit April 9th. We'll keep an eye on this story to see what happens in the weeks ahead. Do you have something you'd like us to investigate?
So yeah, so there you go. They're going a little hard on that fucking glitch effect, though. They need to tone
A
it
little
down
bit,
here.
kind of, yeah, but you know, they're trying to make it look.
It's like it was like we were watching a end of days like conspiracy like Netflix like special.
It's the CSI stuff, man. It's all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta get the glyphs in there. I'll listen. Honestly, they could have left as much as they had in. All they had to do is bring the audio level of the glitch down a little bit to make it less aggressive.
You know, one thing I fucking hate, and this is going to sound really weird, but there's, you know, like the Dr. Pimple Popper lady.
Oh yeah, which I'm both oddly mesmerized and grossed out at the same time. It's crazy.
So whenever she got her TLC special, they go in and add a bunch of like squishing effects. Like that's you don't fucking need that. Why? Why
Did
are
she?
we doing
Oh,
this?
so she at least protested against that.
I don't know. I hope so. But
That's your opinion. I
yeah,
see.
That's me. I'm like,
So
who
you know
fucking
what?
needs that shit?
People have weird fetishes that watch that. I mean that jokingly about the fetish part, but at the same time, like, it's weird. You'll get people that are like, it's like I've got a zit, and they're like, can I pop it?
Yeah, like, fucking
And
calm
it's
down
like
there.
there's a whole fucking like army of people out there that are like, oh yeah. Anyways,
what the fuck?
It's weird. It's weird to me. You know, it's like I have this weird obsession with watching like cave diving videos where people like
spelunking.
Don't do. Yeah, well, there's two different kinds. There's the spelunking, and then there's like cave diving, like scuba diving.
Oh, okay.
I agree with the main comment I see in all of these videos where they're like, the way that I have avoided dying in an underwater cave is by not going in them. It's been working so far.
Yeah.
It's been like these. I've seen people in the videos. The guy has got one arm behind him, one arm in front of him, going through a lava tube.
Yeah.
And he has a rock that he's having to break. He's having to basically chip at because the ground's got like a spiky texture that's is getting his sweater caught.
Uh-huh.
And he's literally like wiggling through as he like breaks the little spiky rock so he could like not rip his shirt apart too much and get through it. And when he's done, he's like shredded. But I'm like, listen, have you heard of Nutty Putty Cave? Like, you have, but I mean, like, I feel like saying that to all those people, they're like, oh, it's almost impossible to get stuck in the cave. They'll say things like that, and I'm like, it's not. Like, it's not.
They put a fucking
There's a
sign
whole-
here that says, don't go this way, you will die.
They have a body that they buried in concrete down there. He's there forever. They'll find him in 100 years, and they'll be like, motherfucker was crawling in a cave.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, these people are insane.
So here, let me, so last thing I was going to jump in here. So Gamers Nexus did this thing where they dropped, like, no joke. If you want to watch it, it's on the Gamers Nexus channel here. It's really not going to. Well, I shouldn't say that. This is a channel that does tech stuff. It's like a Linus Tech Tips kind of channel. But they do a lot of like deep investigative shit. Like, it's really kind of crazy. It's like, and like, this is a 3-hour fucking special right here on tariffs. And how it's, and they literally go to each one of these manufacturers of different components, like from different companies, Cooler Master, Thermal, Grizzly, all these different companies that make different products, and because they care about computers, so they just talk to all these companies, and some of these companies literally break it down into spreadsheets for them, and like actually go over the raw numbers here and explain to them how much it's going to affect them, and like these people are only making $5 a case. Like, they sell a case at, like, you buy a case at like where you guys go, Micro Express or whatever, for $120. Yeah, Micro Center, $120 computer case. They're probably only making $5 or $6 off of this case per case.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Like, the retailer's actually making more money than them.
Right. Yeah.
And then they explain, and it's for every single one of these different manufacturers. They explain what the cost per pallet is, what the cost per shipping container is, and they explain how, like, this one case that normally retails for like $120 is going to cost something like $300 and something. In fact, if they sold it for, it was like $250, they'd be taking a $90 loss by the time it's done.
Yeah.
Like, per case. So, like, the price of this $100-something case is now going to be $300 and something American. And And then they go on to explain how even with all that, it's actually economically not beneficial for them to make in America. In fact, it's so not beneficial for them that they're better off just dropping America as a customer and selling in other markets. And that's why, and I'm sure you've seen this, that's why you have people that are saying, like, you'll see where the company's like, hey, we're not shipping this to America right now. And then people are like, why not? Why aren't you shipping to America? And it's like, because you're not going to buy it. It's going to sit on the shelf, and then we're going to actually lose money.
Right.
So there's no point. And we're not going to, like, change the way we make it because, like, for instance, a lot of people don't realize that, like, a lot of these companies don't own their own factories. They don't have a factory somewhere. They buy time at a factory to make the components they need for their stuff.
100%.
So
And that's one thing that when people talked about, well, all this is going to do is force these companies to set up shop in America. It's like, well, it's not that simple, right? Because what people don't seem to understand, you're a handyman. I mean, you're more than a handyman, obviously, but you deal with tools, right? So you see like DeWalt, Makita, Milwaukee.
Sir, I am a refrigeration journeyman. Okay.
Right.
People think I work on refrigerators.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I tell people, I'm like, I could. I'll fix my own, but like you're not gonna want to pay me to fix your refrigerator. By the time I fix it, you could buy another one.
Yeah, just find a.
The hourly rate is like $100-something an hour. Like it's like,
that's what I mean. You know, find a compressor, pull the bolts, and do it yourself. But what I'm saying is, you know,
well, the refrigeration portion.
Yes. I know. I get it.
Continue.
Sorry. You have DeWalt. You've got Milwaukee, like the different power tool manufacturers, right? All those are built in the same fucking place. Every last one of them.
Yeah, I found, actually, I don't think it was you that told me this. I found that out somewhat recently. They'll literally have, now they might be made of slightly different components because they'll spec an RPM and a power level and stuff.
Thing is,
but like there'll be a guy working at this table with bins in front of him, and he's pulling the case out, opening it, taking the motor out of this thing, taking the other piece out of here, plopping a trigger in out of this box, and he's standing 5 feet from a person who's assembling a DeWalt. And then beside that person's a Ryobi, and they're like popping a motor in, snapping the Ryobi together, putting the screws in, whatever.
Yes.
And like they're all like standing, you know, in the same warehouse, just with different parts out of different boxes.
Well,
like it's crazy.
Because it's easier for me as one of these companies, instead of saying I'm gonna warehouse my own shit and build my own shit, I could just because there's already a warehouse designed for that. They've got all the parts that I need. They have all the deals with the makers of the parts that I need. I just spec it out and then send it to them. Say, hey, this is what you need to put. This is what you need to put in. How you want to build it. Period. And they do that. And you don't see it just with power tools. Like supplement companies do the same thing. Like people talk about, well, I buy this particular protein powder over that protein powder because this one is made different. Blah blah blah. Like no, it's made the same. They just have a little bit different ingredients. Like. And by ingredients, I don't mean different quality of ingredients. I just mean different measurements of the same fucking ingredients. There's a supplement company close to where I live. I shot a video there for a new supplement company coming out who was like, yeah, we're going to have protein powders and all this shit. And they're going to this. I was like, this is your warehouse? Like, no, this is a warehouse that does supplements. Like, what do you mean? And they explained it was like, no, there's like, you have BPN here. You've got all these different companies that make different supplements. They all just tell us what they want, we mix it, and then we package it and ship it out. I was like, so you don't work for any one company? It's like, no, we work for all of them.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
a
same
label.
shit.
It's a label and a product.
Right.
I
So
was
you've
in a
got-
plant. I'll tell you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, you've got that. That's not just, I mean, you've got power tools that do that. There's a lot of folks that'll do that. They'll just spec something out. Like we were talking about creating, we have an idea for some film equipment that we haven't seen readily available. And we're like, if we spec it out, we can just hire one of these companies to build it for us. And we don't actually have to carry anything. We just need a patent on the design. That's all we need. And then we'll sell the design and ship it out.
Well, that's why you can buy the same, like, there's even screwdrivers I have that,
Yeah.
I have like I buy these screwdrivers and they can come in 3 different flavors, for instance. Here, actually, I can.
You're not
grab
supposed to
one
eat
right
your
here.
screwdrivers.
Well, you know what I mean. hold on. I'm gonna. What the fuck isn't that loading? There we go. Slow. 1 second.
All right. We'll wait. Don't worry. We won't say a word.
So like I buy these screwdrivers for working with, and so this is just an Irwin. I think you probably recognize the brand. I don't know. Do they have that? Is it just basic like Irwin? Like
right? Yeah.
It's a $14. It's a $14 screwdriver. It's a multi-driver.
Right.
It's got the bits in the end. It's missing one. This one. I think it's on my desk here actually. But anyways, either way. So it's a multi-driver. Okay. But then there's this Kilmair one.
Yeah.
And it's a refrigeration tool.
It's the same fucking thing. Yeah.
It's the same screwdriver. All of the parts, all it is it's got a slightly different design on the body, but it's literally like this part right here.
Yeah.
These parts are literally identical.
They're universal.
I can take them out and put them into each other. They're the same fucking part. Right. These are made in the same factory. And there's another company, Lennox, like the blue and white.
Yep.
Lennox tools. I think you guys have those too, right? And I think it's an American brand, so I would assume, right? Yep. But anyway, so Lennox tools, they also have one of these, and it's blue and white, and it's the same screwdriver. And the only difference, literally, the only difference with this Kilmair right here and this Irwin is that one of these little bits that comes in the extra little piece here has a Schrader removal tool for like a refrigeration Schrader removal tool on the other side of the Robbie. And do you know why they do that? Because Robertson's Canadian, and so Americans don't pay I guess it has to do with, because it's still a patent. So like a lot of American companies don't want to pay the patent to have a Robertson.
Right.
And so the ones for the Canadian market, they put in one of these like bits that has Robertson on both sides, and the American market ones, they put in just a different bit, like another 2 sizes of Star or whatever in it. And that's literally the only difference. And I'm going to tell you right now, the reason they do that is you will literally not sell a screwdriver in Canada. If you sell a multi-driver or a set of screwdrivers and it doesn't have a Robertson here, you won't sell it. Yeah. Like, because we use Robertson for everything, because it's like one of the best it's one of the best screw head designs on Earth.
The funny thing about that is, if you guys could do all you need is you just need the bit. That's it. Because everything else is the same. Everything else is identical. The only thing is different is a bit. One bit.
Yeah, you guys have Square Drive. You have that cheaty one that doesn't pay Robertson, and it's like slightly different shape, and it pretends to be a Robertson. So if you come across a Robertson screw, it will work. Like, and I know exactly the one you're talking about. Yeah. But it's not this. And like, I can't tell you the bliss you can get from a Robertson bit with a Robertson screw. You literally just push it on, and the screw just stays on there too. Like, they literally push on and stay on and stuff like that. But I've seen your fake Robertson bits down there, thank you.
Whoever designed the flathead screw needs to be punched in the face. And then whoever
the flathead screw is like a war design. You just cut it with a hacksaw, that's why.
I get it. Right. I get it. But last I checked, I'm not in any wars right now in the States. When I'm, trying to screw together.
Well, Phillips is just as bad, though.
100%.
So that's the thing. When you go to a Canadian job site and you see them building a house, you hear the typical, like, you hear people screwing down. But in American job sites, all you can hear is their bits spinning. Is you hear like at the end, because it's always the Phillips spinning when it can't go anymore. That doesn't happen with the Robertsons. You'll bury that bitch right through the log eventually if you don't stop.
Yeah, some people don't realize that if you set your torque settings correct, you don't chew up your.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like I've done it before with a Robertson where I've literally pushed it. I'm just going hard, and then you're like, oh shit, that's like halfway through the fucking board. Yeah. By the time you stop, it just drives it right home.
Yeah,
because if it's a good bit,
if it's right. If you can get cheaper. What are we talking about? We're talking about fucking screws. What are we doing? Let's get back on topic.
Doesn't matter. That's what we're here. We are getting back on topic. We were talking. Okay, so the topic was high-speed chases, right? I'm just kidding.
No.
Well, anyways, so we're actually off of topic 1 then. So long story short, ports are kind of getting empty. It's gonna get interesting. Don't hoard buy toilet paper, but you might want to have. Wow, toilet paper is made domestically, but still, there is a rumor that the heads of the U.S. government have been stockpiling a bit of toilet paper. So, like, that means they think the economy is gonna get kind of like shitty shit. Like, so, but that could be bullshit. Anyways, so what we're gonna move on to now is
the meat and potatoes.
That is the meat and potatoes for the last whatever amount of time here on the show. So And okay, so it sounds kind of bitchy and shitty for people to be like, because he spent the last X many years saying that they stole the election and all this kind of stuff, and that's
well,
fine.
but we
whatever.
talked about this before. We talked about how it was a great thing for him to do, so they could easily. No, I don't think that's. I don't think that was the idea. Like from the beginning, it wasn't the idea. Like I'm going to say this so I can use this in the future, right? But it
has the effect now
Yeah.
of making the Democrats look like bitches basically if they try
Right.
to say like maybe this is bullshit, this election.
Right.
And
Yep.
so it does have that effect. And because even me saying it sounds so bitchy, like, no, you guys cheated now.
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, you can't get your own, like now you're all just like whining and complaining. And we are. I'm not a Democrat, I'm a Canadian, so I just watch through the window of the computer screen here and go, God damn, that's crazy. But yeah, so there is some anomalous things, and we're gonna kind of jump into them fairly quickly here. Now, I did have part 1 and 2 open, but part 2 kind of starts landing harder, faster. So I'm just gonna jump into it.
Yeah.
So
I will.
this
I will
guy-
make this distinction. I will make this distinction really quick. That whenever we talked about it, talking about Democrats, when the left started talking about the anomalies, and that's what we called them. We called them anomalies. We didn't say one is cheating, the other is cheating. We say, hey, there's some anomalies here that we need to take a look at. It wasn't the election stolen, it's rigged, blah 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 blah. That's the thing. There's a difference, right? Donald Trump just came out and said that was stolen and rigged. You need to fight for your country. And January 6th happened, and then he pardoned all those fuckers. And we're like, hey, there's some things that don't quite add up here. We went ahead and went through, the peaceful transfer of power like we're supposed to do. But there's some things that don't add up.
We're about to look at Election Truth Alliance. So that's Liz was saying. No, they don't add up, and this isn't like complaint based. This is receipt based because you guys actually get statistics from these machines.
That's the thing.
So it's not even like we're think they cheated. It's like, well, there is evidence that is beyond just being like, oh, we get the same ones in Canada now. I was at the polling office and I saw them bring boxes in.
Right.
Boxes that said election on them. They're cheating.
Right.
Like, and we get, that's such a bitchy fucking, unfortunately, it's like, so I'm supposed to take your fucking word, your right wing or left wing nutbag. So, like, that goes for both sides,
Right.
So, because we know people lie. People be like, why would they lie about that? Because of fucking the attention economy and all this bullshit. Like,
Well,
it's
because they want their fucking candidate to win. See, that's the problem that I have.
Well, no, it's not just that now. The problem is it's not even.
Hang on a second.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
The issues here are we've got, and you see it on both sides. You do see it on both sides. We do see it on one side a little bit more than the other, but the whole fucking like. What is it called? Oh no, I don't know who that is. Not me. Him. That's right. You do. That's right.
I had made a promise a long time ago that I was going to do a makeup stream because I thought it'd be funny, and I don't know if I feel that way anymore. But I could fuck around at some point and be like,
Yeah.
But I was like maybe I'm going to scare the normies too much. Because I don't give a fuck.
Who gives a shit?
Like, it's not like how I live my life, and even if it was, like, I didn't fuck off. Like, I'll do what I want.
I do what I want.
But
so what I'm
but
saying
at
is,
the same time, like my feelings changed.
You get
Go
one
ahead.
side. You get these people that are so like amped up. Like my guy has to win no matter what, and I'm gonna support my guy no matter what. And that's why they're bullshit. You know what I mean? And yeah, they do get some attention from it, right? People talking.
Well,
to
but
them
the
and
other thing I was going to
shit.
say is that you get paid now on X, you make money from interaction.
Yep.
So if you can say, so there's literally an economy now on there, which YouTube's, I guess, not much different. But like there's an economy even on X where you're like, people are like presenting X as evidence of things now. And it's like, X is literally a place where you get paid for people to spread your shit around.
Right.
So if you can say the most outlandish bullshit out there and everybody sends it to their friends and family and you got shown on Timcast or something,
Right,
all of a
right.
sudden you get money. Like literally, like we're not talking little bits of money. Some of these people are making tens of thousands of dollars a month off of the bullshit they post on X. And so the problem is there's actually a financial incentive for you to make shit up now on X and post all kinds of bullshit. And the thing is, I'm not saying that we should be charging people for their lying free speech if they are lying in some cases, but at the same time, because where do you draw the line on that is the problem, right? But unless there was some sort of limiting of these people's ability to just make shit up and lie, which there isn't, there's the opposite right now, there's incentive.
Right.
So then we're just going to see it forever now. Like, that's the way the internet is now, is everybody just gets to make up whatever they want and spread whatever bullshit they want, and if it gets views, it makes money. Like, it's a little frustrating, but to get on target here, so these people, that's my fault mostly. These people have some evidence, and let's just jump into a little bit. I'm gonna play the first part where I'm gonna basically jump from part 1 all the way to part 2 here in a minute. I want them to introduce him right here, though. And by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, this is I think you recognize Christopher Titus. Most people probably do, but this is, you can find him on YouTube, Christopher Titus TV. They stream on YouTube every week. They don't stream so much as I guess it's pre-recorded. But anyways, his channel has lots of like every week they do. Well, he does videos like he's very much talking about the election lately. That's on his mind. And like, you know, the current state of affairs. But yeah, they do like a long 1 hour. Where is it here? Well, every day, right there, 1 hour, 12 minutes. Like, they do a podcast basically every week, and this is part 1 and part 2 are right here. They're recent. And when we're done being dumbasses and talking about them, you should go check it out.
Yep.
Because Christopher Titus is funny, too. I mean, it's good shit. Let me get back to where I was, though. God damn it. Oh, wait, I got to go back twice.
System. Wait.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go to where... Shouldn't have moved that, you know?
It doesn't make it.
Never, always just do a different window.
The votes, but they were denied, and then people are like, wait, my vote didn't get registered. Oh yeah, sorry, election's over. So I would like to bring on Nathan Taylor from the Election Truth Alliance. Come on in. I read something this week. Fascism doesn't just leave. Fascists don't go, you know what? We lost the election. We're out now. That doesn't happen. So what I want to talk about, this is, by the way, Nathan Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, from the Election Truth Alliance. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
You were on another podcast, not as good as this one, but it was another one. And I saw everything you did, and it sucked me in so hard.
Whoa.
And I'm not, as she knows, I'm not a...
Hey, no, that sucked off so hard. You got them confused.
My bad. It's been a while.
Not a math guy. And I had to watch it twice, and we finally got to a place where I was like, holy shit. And whatever I cleared up here when I talked to our people, they went through the roof watching it. So tell me about Election Truth Alliance. Tell me what you guys do, why you guys do what you do, and what you're up to. And then we'll get into the stuff where you're like, what?
The data.
Yeah.
So
you got excited. Look at you. He goes, the data.
Well, so listen. All right. A little bit about me then, and then the ETA. Yeah. This is my job now. It's been more than 4 months in the making. Every day. There is no weekends for me anymore. This is it. Until we get to where we're going, this is what I focus on.
Or you and I both fall out a window for talking about it.
Well, airplanes are the thing nowadays. But
true that.
So a little bit about why we're here and what we care about. So the ETA is the Election Truth Alliance.
Right.
It is only a few months old. It was founded just after the election, and the reason why the ETA exists today is because me and 2 other amazing people said, hey, no one is looking at this. We thought right after the election, prior to the election, right, there was some weirdness where, there was record levels of engagement in an election, which we've never seen before in my lifetime.
Yeah.
There were endorsements.
Just us seeing it on TV, watching people bail on his rallies, bail on him. Like they were watching a shit.
Now, the only thing is, we're going to jump ahead now. So so this is what this guy is. I wanted him to be able to introduce himself.
Yeah.
And the first half of this, they spend a lot of time just kind of shit talking a little bit and just getting back and forth. He gets into it a little bit. He explains, a lot to do with the voting machines, I think, and stuff as well, and how they operate. And
he definitely gives a lot of background information on.
Yeah, it's
like the so this is
he
like
explains
the
like this
stuff.
is a map, for instance, of like which two companies they're like these are the two companies that do like 70 or 80% of all the voting machines in America.
Yeah, right. So
or something like that.
Yeah, so the first, I think, is the first like quarter of when he starts diving into is like all the boring shit that nobody wants to hear. They just want sensational stuff. But you need that. So go back and watch this after, because if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah, it's worth watching. That's my point. Is it's worth watching.
Right.
This whole thing is worth watching. It's really kind of, if you watch it start to finish, both parts, it's really kind of the craziest shit you'll ever see.
Right.
Because like this is the kind of guy who gets a fucking erection thinking about numbers. Like straight up. Like this guy right here, he's only 26 years old or something, and he wakes up in the morning and he like has a calendar of a beautiful like number 5 on his wall or something. Like that's my you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. No, you didn't. I'm still here.
Johnny's like, this guy's into numbers.
No,
so like they talk about Pennsylvania and stuff. No,
Right.
I know. I'm just.
He's super important that you get all the background stuff. The setup is equally as important as the payoff in this one.
Yeah, and they also have advertising in there because, of course, they make their money.
Yeah.
Hey, there was a maple leaf in there. Oh yeah, that's Canadian.
Canadian.
There you go. Buy some Vessies, everybody. Get Vessies. Vessies, great sneakers. Anyways, I have no idea. I've never owned a Vessie.
It's a little deeper too.
Oh, come on!
Because are you familiar with drop-off analysis?
So drop-off analysis is where these. Well, I think he explains it right here. I'll just let him.
Drop off. Okay. All right. No, go. You go.
Yeah. So what?
Look, I'll try to shut up. It's hard for me because I'm.
You ask your questions. I like anything you're like, hey, I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, I have no idea what you're talking about. Go drop off.
Perfect. That's why I'm here. So,
that's too fast.
So the way you read this is a comparison for Pennsylvania, all the counties in the state, and what we're looking at is how many votes the presidential candidate got for each party, right, compared to another race of their party. So in this case, it's the
so all the down ballot races. It should be the same pretty much.
And so here's the senator, right? The president versus the senate. And the way you read this on the bottom here is you have all the voting types. Well, 2 of the voting types. Provisional is so small, it's nothing.
Right.
So you have mail-in, you have election day.
Okay.
And so on the left, the y-axis it's the drop-off percent. So it's, hey, if I get 100 votes and the senator gets 50%, I am technically speaking 100% over, I am double. And so what we're seeing, this is for both presidents, candidates. This is red is Trump.
Okay, wait, hold on. This is where I start to get confused.
All right.
So
Well, here, let me. So red is Trump.
Got it.
Blue is Harris.
Right.
We're going to start on the left.
Right.
So you have 0%. That is the amount of votes the senator got.
Okay.
So the 0. So if both the president and the senator got the same amount of votes, you're going to be 0. This isn't going to exist.
Got it.
So as you get further, you're going to see the percentage of both candidates in how many votes they got. And what's interesting about Pennsylvania is they had some interesting counties, but this is averaged out. So this is every county in the state. We're going to, in the next slide, highlight the counties individually, and you'll see the change.
Why on election day is the percentage so
That is
higher?
the question.
Why?
So why is it? So the way you're looking at it,
That
right?
makes no sense.
Mail in.
That's about right.
Both candidates get around 1 to 2%.
Right.
This is consistent with past elections. This is consistent.
Going back 100 years.
Averaging out. This
Got
averages out. That is generally what you're going to see. Why? Because you get some really high, some really low. It averages. That's what we expect to see.
Right.
If that is the baseline, why is it on election day we see the Republican presidential candidate getting a significantly more amount of votes,
almost 5 times more
than the senator, who should just, that's the point, is if you're going to vote.
So you didn't vote. So you just voted for the president, but didn't vote for the senator, who's basically.
Yeah, so this is what this means is that like this is how many people like came in, I guess, and voted for only the president, but not this like the lower like they had people that voted for OCZ, for instance, or whatever her name is,
Ocasio Cortez, yeah. Alexander AOC.
There's too many. Yeah, there's AOC. That's the one. There's just too many words in there for me, my stupid lizard brain. And they voted for her, but then they voted for Trump. Like how does that happen? Like how do you? So, but again, this first part, I didn't like this first part as much for demonstrating. Where it gets really interesting is, well, this one too is kind of interesting.
When he talks about the bell curve.
The bell curve is the one, they're all in the next one, and that's where I'm kind of going to. So let's just jump into it, because I think it, but anyways, please go watch that, because there is a lot in there. That one thing with the over and under that we were just showing, where there was the graph on that I just kind of breezed through right there that didn't really talk about. That one shows who was underperforming and overperforming with the mail-in versus the on the ballot day. But the thing is, in the second part is where you start getting some really heavy information here. So let's jump into this one right here. And please go check out Titus's channel, because I am piggybacking on him a little bit
analysis. So briefly, let me explain what you're looking at here.
This was the graph that made my brain hurt.
Well, on the top, this one's hopefully going to be super simple because this is going to be our baseline.
Okay.
This is going to be, if you take nothing else from this, this is what we are arguing is more normal. And so the way you read this, we're going to look at the top graph. This is the 24 election.
Okay.
This is for mail-in voting. This is by precinct. And this is San Mateo County, California. And
Hometown.
Oh yeah,
Near home, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a Bay Area boy.
All right. So the way you read this is on the bottom axis, the x-axis. It starts at 0 and goes to the right. These are votes cast per precinct.
Okay.
So you got some precincts where you only have like less than 100 votes.
Right.
Those are the beginning. And then as you grow in the amount of votes that were cast per precinct, we see it's a straight line for both candidates. We don't see there's a lot of variance, but it averages out to more of a straight line.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so you've got some precincts where there's 2,500 plus voters. You've got some precincts that are, only 5, 10, 15, 20. And so this is normal. We're not seeing anything here that is of concern.
Mail-in precincts about the same, just kind of normal. Like some of the smaller counties have a lot more. I get it. Okay.
Yep.
And by the way, for anybody having troubles understanding this part took me a minute, is that, as you can see how this is the 20% line, and then up here you have the 80% line, and this is in California, so this would be an expected result.
Right.
You have basically smaller polling locations over here and larger polling locations over here, and so because you have more smaller polling locations than large ones, that's why it kind of has this little bit of this almost pyramidal kind of shape here. But in general, you see how they're straight lines because in this area she got 80% of the vote and he got 20% of the vote, which makes up 100%, right? 20 and 80 on average, right? Make up 100. So the thing is, yes, you've got a red one up here where apparently he won, and then you got some blue ones down here. But in general, because she won 80% and he won 20%, the general curve is that he has his down the 20% line and hers is down the 80 or 79, let's say. I don't know, it's slightly lower, but you get it. But then he's going to bring up a different one after a couple examples here. So stay
and so
with us.
and people will argue, hey, you're going to see certain things at smaller sizes. That's not generally correct. When you look at statistics, you're going to argue what is an appropriate sampling size. Because we're using precincts, after only a couple hundred votes per precinct, it becomes a consistent pattern.
Right.
You'll see it kind of at the beginning where you see it's a little thicker, sub 100 votes, right?
Yep.
But then it immediately becomes more of just a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're not just looking at one precinct with 100 votes, we're looking at hundreds of precincts with 100 votes.
Got it.
See, so it averages out. So the only other point I'm going to make here is people will say, does this change based on a candidate being more popular or less popular? No. What'll happen is you see, in this case, Harris is blue, Trump is red. All you'll see is that it'll shift up and down the graph. Mm-hmm. So you see, in this case, mail-in, Harris is sitting somewhere around 80, a little less than 80%. So let's say it flips and Trump is really popular in mail-in. He's just going to sit on the 80% line. His shape of votes of the precincts aren't going to change.
Right.
It doesn't
That's the other thing. This is mail-in. These
Right.
are the mail-in results.
change as more people cast
which
their
is
votes.
going to be more. That's going to be a more blue vote regardless.
Typically, but it doesn't.
Typically.
But yeah, and that's kind of the same in Canada too. I mean, it tends to be liberal that are more likely to mail in or remote vote and all that stuff.
We understand that?
Yeah.
Kind of. Kind of. Any questions here?
I mean, yeah.
I
sort
wouldn't
of.
want to be tested on it, but yeah, I kind of understand it.
But as long as we
We're not
understand,
going to be tested, are we?
yeah, you're gonna have a lot of questions.
Does
I'm
that
sure.
make you panic?
Yeah.
But
So you're basically just showing so if you look at the bottom of the graph, 0 to 200, that's how many people voted in that precinct and that polling place. Basically, what we're saying, and then it goes to then there's other polling places that had 1,500 votes, and you could see where they voted,
how much of the votes they got.
Okay,
Yep.
go ahead.
All you're looking at is how many votes did each candidate get per precinct, and so you're at 2,500, Harris was getting 80% of the votes that were cast in that precinct. So
Got it.
there you go.
All right, go ahead.
The reason why we're going to say is this is the baseline. This is normal.
Yeah, we'll jump to the Russian tail after we see the change here, because right now we're just seeing baselines on this, and I want the audience to see that, and then we're
That's
going to talk
important.
about it, and then we're gonna move to the Russian tail, because that's one of the next most compelling things.
Yep.
If we can expect that. So if this is the baseline and we don't see any changes to the shape of the votes as more people voted across these precincts, we're going to look at some other places. I think we have one more baseline. Oh yes, and this is same location, same election, but this is election day. This is important because it's the same thing. You see, even though both candidates were closer to 50%, it's still the same shape. It's you've got more of a straight line consistency.
And you're saying that this is 2024, so San Mateo. You're saying you're believing that if there was no anomalies in San Mateo, it pretty much looked like a normal election.
Right.
Okay.
So if this is what a normal election looks like, we're going to look at Pennsylvania.
We can do shapes. We're good at shapes.
This is geometry.
Shapes of color, red and blue, and shapes.
We're not good at geometry.
That's a circle.
But what's a triangle? How many sides?
3.
Boom.
See, come on,
See?
man.
You're going to pass this test.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So now we're going to. All right, hold on. Now we're going to look at another place.
See, he's getting scared. You scared him.
All right. The last baseline. All right, and then we're going to actually get into the manipulation.
Erie. Okay.
This is Erie County, Pennsylvania. I think this is top 5 density county in the state. It's either the 3rd or the 5th largest county, and similar pattern. They don't have as many precincts here, so the shape isn't as well defined. But you notice, generally speaking,
you can still see it. Yeah.
Roughly a straight line. Generally speaking, this is roughly a straight line.
It is not a rhomboid.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So we're going to look
Not a
at
rhomboid.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what a fucking rhomboid is. I'll be honest.
Yeah, you do. It's one of those like tilted, like a diamond.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I'm sure well, that's like, okay, hold on. That's like saying, like, I know when I see the shape, I know what you're talking about. I wouldn't have looked at it and said, that's a rhomboid.
Oh, okay, that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, like, of course, I've seen a rhomboid. That's, like, the different thing, though. Like, I didn't know what it was. I would have just said, one of those, like, rectangles that's kind of like, like a house falling over. It's like somebody didn't put the supporting beams up properly. And it was windy.
And then I've been asked, you mean a rhomboid? And you're like, no, I mean the house is tilted.
Yeah, no shit, eh? I think my kid did this. Somebody said something like that the other day, like a certain shape, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is. My kid's like, I'm like, God damn you. Because they're learning it right now, right? He's like 11. So, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh.
What?
So, same application. This is Erie County. This is election day.
Wait, stop.
So let's just see that again here.
Yeah.
Let's look at that. Look at the chart. Watch the chart, everybody. Look at the chart. This is a normal election. This is the election day.
Yep.
In Erie County, yeah, Pennsylvania, right? One of the most important states.
Here we go.
Oh.
What?
So, same application. This is Erie County. This is election day.
Wait, stop.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
That's not a straight line.
Wait, but not only that, but okay, go ahead. You explain it before you get talking.
No, so if we look at both candidates separate, because it gets a little confusing when you look at both of them, we see at lower votes cast per precinct, Harris
is killing it.
Harris is killing it, 80, 60% or so. And then as more votes were cast in these precincts, in precincts where more votes were cast, there's no time here. Everyone seems to get a little confused saying there's a time component. There's not. We're just showing you every precinct where a certain amount of votes were cast or more.
Hold on.
This is all the counties.
If you
this is all the precincts in Erie County.
Separately, it actually looks somewhat normal until you hit 500. And around 500, well, actually maybe a little less than 500.
Yeah, a little less than 500.
Trump goes up
here.
drastically, and Harris goes down.
Ray, look, it's more like 250. If you look at the blue, at 250, everything starts to drop.
Oh yeah,
and then at 250, everything starts to go up.
What we're seeing,
shit.
To sum this up, we're seeing that at precincts where more votes were cast, the Republican Party grew in the amount of votes they were getting consistently all across the county.
Which would make you think that maybe if this were fraud, that there was a number that triggered.
And I think this part's kind of dumb because, of course, yeah.
Well, it's
going to be it's conjecture, and besides, it's going to be algorithmic.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a raw number like at this number it triggers. It could be based on mass, and it could be the velocity of votes. There could be lots of factors that would trigger it. But it doesn't change the fact that that the evidence is such that basically it creates this arcing point. Now we're going to jump, I don't know if there's anybody that's confused about that, what we're seeing here.
Essentially, what we're seeing is a statistical anomaly that seems to favor one group of voters versus another group of voters.
Over and over and over again, and coincidentally, only in the most important swing states and the states you would need to win things like the Electoral College and stuff.
Well, one thing that you see, one thing that you get in the setup is a guy goes over, like, not necessarily the entire history of voting, obviously, because we're not going to have the same type of statistical data that we have, you know, in the second.
No, Martel, by the way, it's not about timing. This is what this is that's why they show you the baselines ahead of time. And they showed you the one that where they're closer. Like, it doesn't matter where you do this statistical analysis. This is the way the statistics would normally pan out.
So that's what I was talking about.
To have them do this, this is smart.
In the setup,
Martel.
Right, in the setup and the stuff previously, he talks about this is statistical data that is in line with every election. Like, this is the average of all of the elections we've been collecting this data. So this is not just from they're not talking about just what is anomalous from the 2024 election. They're talking about this is anomalous for every
elections.
election.
Like, it's anomalous for anomalous for elections in general.
In general, right.
That's why if you go back, like, even in the closer election, you see, like, this is a tighter race. This was around 60-ish% for Harris and 40-ish% for Trump. But it doesn't change the fact that, you have some outliers at the lower end there, but then the definition becomes instant almost on these graphs.
If you look at the graph, like the combined graph, it's like one solid line with a couple of little outliers here and there. But if you go back and look at the one from Erie, it's like...
Well, this is, again, so here's the close one. Here's another one.
Right.
And again, it makes... it's a little bit more chaotic in this one, but it still forms a very obvious line. Like, that's the way and this is human. This is, like, mathematically, like, the odds of this happening are literally like a million to one.
Right.
Or something stupid like that. Like, the odds of this being the pattern that forms out of this area statistically it's almost impossible, he explains.
Right.
And this is, like, these people, like I said, he nuts over numbers, this guy.
You can
where
tell,
more
look
votes
at him.
were
He looks like a
cast.
dork. He just
He
looks
does,
like a
absolutely.
dork. But I give him credit.
Or
he's doing the good work.
You would add it.
Well, he worked at a cybersecurity firm. He's probably pretty smart, let's face it.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
in votes or delete votes. And it seems to be a mix. We've done additional analysis, which we'll continue to be publishing, but we originally assumed it was maybe just vote switching. We're now starting to see that there's the digital vote stuffing potentially, and also vote deletion. And there's a difference because you take a vote from one candidate and give it to the other. It's still deletion, but they get a +1. In deletion, you just get rid of it.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Did this happen on the down ballot races?
Thank you, Liz.
From our analysis, we are seeing the similar concerns for senatorial races and other down ballot partisan races, meaning there's a Democrat versus a Republican. We're seeing it pretty consistently across not only Pennsylvania, but in Nevada as well. And other states we've not released yet, perhaps Iowa.
So, and so let's just jump into the Russian tail, because I really want to make sure we get this part done before we start, even like wrapping up it all here. But this is the next biggest thing, because this is a well-studied phenomenon, and that's why it's called a Russian tail. It's like Russia's like famous for doing this bullshit, like where they're stuffing the ballots essentially. So
during the election, I didn't see anything weird. If the tabulation machines are compromised, you wouldn't physically need to be there to do this. And that's the thing, is you don't need to have
the algorithm
access.
would kick in at a certain number,
You
and
need
you
access.
wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even notice it.
And
what he said right there is, he said you get people being like, I was there on election day and I didn't see anything, anything being done. And he was saying that if you've compromised the tabulation machines, you wouldn't need to. It's just there. It's in the code because it's a computer.
Here's the concern as well.
And remember, who was it? Was it, it was this, remind me the name of this guy who went in front of an entire crowd of people and said, oh, Elon, he knows those computers and he knows those vote machines. He went down to Pennsylvania and did a lot of work for us, a lot of good work. He knows those machines. He knows them like the back of his head. God bless Elon. And, there's that too. And then Pennsylvania is one of the most egregious instances in their statistics
Yes.
of this occurring.
Yep.
So that's the thing. It's not even like, and people go, "Oh, he was just trolling." No, I think he was telling on himself.
I think
he's
he
such
was.
a windbag that
Yeah.
he says shit because he's been able to say anything he wants, and people are like, "Oh, he's just making stuff up." He even said, and then they rigged the election at one point. And I do think that was easy at first to be like, "Oh, he's fucking with us," but no, I think he's partly senile, and I think senile is a tattletale.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's a tattletale. Senility is a tattletale because he tells on himself.
But here's the thing, like I said, when we talk about this administration, Trump specifically, in this administration, he has no problem bragging. He has no problem talking about all this dumb shit. He says whatever comes to his mind. And was he telling on himself? It's possible. It sure sounds
It's
like
possible he was. It's possible he was telling on himself. I think he says shit, and his handlers are like often left like, "Fuck."
Like this is
like
a face.
they-
This is a face they make all the time.
Did you see the look on the woman's face when he said, "I think we should own Gaza"? Did you see the image of her fucking face?
I didn't
She
see
was
that
like,
one, but I saw the Italian prime minister. What's her name? Oh man! Whenever he started talking about all the money, oh fuck! I gotta find. I'll find.
They
it.
fucking have that. There's an image of the woman fucking when he says we should own Gaza. I think we should own it. The look on her fucking face is, oh my god, it's so beautiful. She's got both a shock and like she's like, the look is like, how the fuck do you say that? Like, it's crazy. I don't know. I'll have to
Here
find
it is.
it.
All right,
It's
hang on
so
a second.
good.
Hang on, I got one for you too. Hang on, just a second.
Okay.
I was
And
gonna
then
show
Russian
this.
tail.
Yeah, I was gonna show this. Whatever, who gives a shit? I was gonna do a video on this, but I've been so stupid busy. Okay.
Well, it won't. You could still do a video on it. This is not going to ruin that for you.
Oh no, this is so far. Look, if you're not doing daily shit on Trump stuff, then you're just behind the times. So, all right, so I'm sharing it down the bottom. Don't forget to like flip over when you're ready.
What am I? Okay, so wait. Oh, you shared it at the bottom. What do you mean?
I'm sharing. You got to add it to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got to do this. It's
There
the
you
damn
go.
transition button.
Watch her face, okay?
Penalties on China for sending us fentanyl.
Oh my god!
She's literally biting her fucking, like, she's like stuffing her hand in her mouth. Look at her face.
That was amazing.
Look, this is so funny.
Because he doesn't say he's gonna say this shit.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
do it. Here, sorry, do it again.
For sending us fentanyl. Penalties on Mexico and Canada.
He doesn't tell these people he's gonna announce these things while he's.
Allowing fentanyl and allowing the borders to be weak.
Oh my god.
She's just.
Billions and billions
She's.
of dollars while I sit here and
It's priceless.
talk to you. And we didn't take in anything before, other than the tariffs that I put on previous to Biden, which were the tariffs I put on China, where we took in up until this point probably $700
Oh, he's still
billion.
talking. What the fuck?
Trump tariffs. He tried to weaken that.
She's just.
He did everything. He could.
She just can't believe this. She's like,
Well,
how
because
the
now
fuck-
she has to do. Now she has to fucking contact China, and they have to fucking do a whole bunch of damage control with China now.
Budgets, they couldn't stand.
Yes, but
Even if she fucking agrees with him, what she's thinking. It's amazing. No, but like, even if she agrees with him, though, like, you know what I mean? Like, even if she agreed with him, let's pretend that behind the scenes she's like, yeah, and China is letting the fentanyl get to America. Of course they fucking are. They don't give a fuck. It's money. So the thing is, but even if she agrees with him, she's like, the fuck, you can't say this, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, oh my god. There's already there's a Chinese official already dialing the fucking consulate of her country right now.
Yeah, that shit cracked me up. She's thinking
amazing.
to herself right now. She's like, "Man, what life choices did I make that got me here?" And I think she's reconciled the fact that she couldn't have done anything different. Like here she is, a person in a.
Oh no, they don't know. He doesn't tell them. That's why he does it to all of them. He's like, he's in the middle of having a meeting with whoever, Britain, France, whatever, and then he just starts saying some bullshit. And that's why even like I give it to Macron. Macron was like corrected him on multiple. He's like, he's like, just to be certain, he said we gifted them $200 billion. Like
Yeah.
You know, like, or we're not getting most of that back. Like, because they were like, everybody in Europe's getting all their money back. They're all getting their money back. It's just America getting stiffed. And he's like, he jumped in the middle of it, was like, well, to be certain, like, we gave them that money. Like, we're not getting any of that back. Like, it's like, only a small portion of it was lent to them, he said. And then, oh no, I'm pretty sure all of it was given. He's like, no. He corrected him again, trying to make it very obvious. Because, of course, he's thinking, I can't sit here and listen to you lie like this. Like,
yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Back
the
to
Russian
the
tail.
tail. Sorry.
Let's do the Russian tail. So no, it's sorry, that's fucking awesome. Now I've gotta fix this. 1 second. I gotta share.
Don't forget to
screen.
hit transition.
I'm gonna. I got this.
Beaver's in
what's
a
going on
transition.
now? Oh, I got your thing in the way. That's what happened.
You cut something right. That was good. Okay.
I love it.
He's a good boy.
So that was actually one of the
Super
three. That was one of the three analysis we're going to show you. Here's the other one. It's very similar. This is your concept of a Russian tail. It's using turnout. So before we were
so this is what you need to explain this a little
I'll
bit.
explain this
because this is the one thing that confused me with
Yes.
the other with the
So
one I watched.
the first analysis I showed you with the scatter plots and the precinct circles and stuff.
Got it.
That one looks at how many votes are cast per precinct. This is similar, but instead of just looking at how many votes are cast, you look at how many votes could have been cast, which is the amount of registered voters, and then you just look at the percentage. So let's say I got 100 people who can vote in a precinct.
Right.
And only 80 show up. That's 80%.
80%.
And that's what this is doing, is using turnout.
I like that he explained that to us.
No, he knows I'm dumb.
If you have 100 people,
and 80 show up, and that's
what
8.
percentage? 8. Good job.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right. It's
Throw a
good.
0 in there. Yeah. But on the left here is a normal shape.
Okay.
It's a distribution.
This is Romanian presidential election 2014.
Yep. So we're going to
Okay.
look at some comparisons. This is Sergei Shvilkin. He is a election
Really quick. This
data
is an
analyst,
important,
if you will.
This is an
he has
important
been-
point, right? So this is an important point. He's not talking about simply American elections either. He's also talking about elections, just elections.
Yeah, it's not even like this is how American elections, exactly, should be.
Right.
This is how elections in general are.
Right.
And like the Russian tail is the thing circled on the right, and he's going to talk about that in a second.
Right. But it's
Publishing
important. It's
these
important that we, like put an emphasis on that because some people, well, American, you can't. No, he's talking about all the elections, not just 2024. He's talking about elections, period.
Okay. Yeah. No, 100%.
Sorry.
Turns. He came
No,
out with this
no.
analysis.
By all means, man.
And he said, hey, let's look at turnout. So on the left is a more normal distribution. All it's looking at is each of these lines are different parties.
Okay.
And we're just saying, hey, even though one candidate has more votes, the shape is very similar across all three parties.
Yeah.
That's the concern here, is we're not seeing any rapid change as more people show up to vote. That's
Right,
all this
so-
is showing.
right.
So the turnout is the x-axis, right? It's, hey,
Right. So like
And by the way, this also supports the previous graphs to show you that typically speaking, the votes they create a pattern. Like you see how the green line, like see how the lines all kind of generally match each other, but just at different amounts of the vote, because you end up with this. I don't know. I don't think I'm describing it very well, but you end up with the same pattern. It doesn't matter who
Yeah.
they're voting for. Humans are humans, and we create patterns.
Everything,
that are very
everything
unanalyzable.
is very parallel.
Yeah, you get like that spike in the middle of the day was probably people getting. Oh no, it's turnout. Yeah, but that's based on a time factor. I think this one, but so that's probably like people getting off at lunch break and stuff.
Right. It's going to be a surge vote time, right at lunch break, and then it could even be like the peak of election or voting on election day. Who
It's
gives-
right
doesn't matter.
after noon. It looks like if that's well, this is turnout on the bottom axis, so I'm fucking this up. Oh yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, no, that's not time based. There's no time factor in this. For some reason, I keep thinking there's a time factor in this one, but there isn't. So this is like turnout. This is like the number of people that came in to vote at that. Oh, I see what it is. Yeah, it's the number of people. Isn't it turnout 0.5?
Yes. It should be turnout at the bottom. I think
Yeah,
that's
it
what
is. But I'm trying to. Anyways, maybe he'll describe it better.
how many people show up
I'll
to
just
vote?
shut up.
right
Per location.
per
precinct.
location, right?
And then the
it's
left,
pretty consistent across.
it should be
right.
consistent. It should be a
Right.
straight line when we
Right.
look at it in
Right.
that other way of seeing it. So this is just
Yeah,
showing
see, I
that,
was right.
but a little more visual. So on the right is highlighting the concept of a Russian tail. This is a statistical term. This isn't like
So
every
for people
Russian
listening,
tail.
the one
yeah.
on the right is Russian presidential election 2000.
Yep, and this is the whole country.
Okay.
I did confuse people because they thought every Russian tail is because of Russia, It's kind of hard to argue that counterpoint in this election, but generally speaking, it's just a concept, and it isn't always Russia. But
pretty much. So let me ask this: Is it where dictators are running shit?
It is where people want to cheat.
Does that seem to be consistent? Wherever people want, okay, good.
Where people want to win or they want to change the outcome of elections, we see
it looks kind of like this.
We see some variation of a Russian tale.
Okay.
In this case, the reason why this is important is we see that as turnout increases from 70%, let's see, a little closer, 80% onwards, we see that green line shift upwards instead of staying
the green line is Putin.
In this case, it is.
Mhm.
And this could be multiple reasons, but all it's showing is potential manipulation.
Look
it could
at
be
how it
caused
shoots up
by...
at the end.
It's hard to see, but it spikes.
And it spikes very
up.
aggressively.
Yeah, look at how it shoots up at the end. That's crazy. And that number is right, 500,000?
Yes.
Well, it's
this
higher
is
than
directly
that,
from their...
yeah.
Yeah, those are...
So you're saying that people woke up
polling
hungover and 500,000 people in the last voted in the last... Is that what that means?
This is for 2000, the Russian presidential election. This could be potentially caused by any number of vote manipulation. You could be busing people to polls and voting all in mass. You could be...
Look how the normal thing peters out. Like that's normal. People
that is
just
more
stop
normal.
voting. The voting day's over. Let's go home. And holy shit.
You see
Could this also be?
So there is a time factor involved in this then, because it's saying the voting day's over. So this is turnout over the course of the day.
Yeah.
On the bottom. Yeah. So what it's showing is right at the end of the day, there's this, like, you see how it actually spikes up the out of side of his circle even? Like right here? Like on Trump, so Trudeau. There's the conspiracy.
Oh, no.
the fucking...
You heard it here first.
this-
Canadian says Trudeau is Putin.
You're right. It'll be all over the right wing. The Maple MAGA sites will be playing it. Hey, listen, that'll get me some fame. You know, there's no such thing as bad publicity online. I'll be honest.
Well,
you know, I mean, hold on. We're not. If somebody dresses like a cupcake and you show up for that meeting, then you got problems. For anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, there's a guy that dressed up as like a cupcake to bust somebody for meeting a child to have cupcakes with them.
Yeah.
So it's like you'd have to look into it.
Don't do that. Don't look into it.
You can't even say the name of the guy without getting demonetized. So like the stream at the least. Anyways, it's okay. So then it's showing that as the day ends, the people, even though that's not how elections ever look, it's showing as the day ends, the people like stuck around, more people start showing up to vote than the pattern for all the other candidates. And then right at the very end, in the last like fucking 30 minutes of voting, all of a sudden a whole bunch of people, like you said, it's 500,000 is this line right here. So over 500,000 people showed up in the last hey, we're here to cast our ballot. That's fucking insane.
Some sort of digital manipulation because as to how many people have voted and once that threshold is met?
It could be. This alone won't tell you that. That's where you'll look at the actual data and break it down like we're going to continue to do and we'll show you. But no, this could be caused by ballot stuffing, which like you just physically put in extra ballots and it'll cause a spike in turnout and then you'll just see change. Because you know why? Is I go vote, I get 100 voters in a precinct and I'm like, only 50 of them show up to vote, right?
Right.
And so normally you'd see a split or an average or whatever across multiple precincts. Instead, I'm going to hand deliver you the remaining amount of votes that could have been cast, and they're all for one person. And it's going to cause that.
So 50% of the voters showed up, and then in the last...
little bit.
By the way, I just found the other 50% of the votes, and they all happen to be for the same guy.
Yep.
Fuck.
And that's what would cause this. If you did this consistently across every precinct, that's what's causing this. And that's why when we highlight the data here is you're going to have really red or really blue precincts for our elections.
Right.
But all the precincts should not change together. That is a red flag. That is an indication of manipulation.
Oh,
That's what this is highlighting.
all over the place.
This is highlighting that after a certain amount of, or in the places where a certain amount of people voted, after that point, higher turnout, all of them began to change and Putin began to win more. And that's what this is showing. And we're going to highlight this because we recreated this for you. I got one more of these and then I'll show you ours.
Okay.
Here's similar. Different.
Oh no, there is not a time it's saying that this is the percentage of the vote that went in certain areas to each candidate.
Right.
And it's saying that in the areas that had 100% of the people show up to vote, suddenly there was this many more votes coming in compared to the other candidates. I don't know. They're slightly confusing, but if you spend, I mean, some people are better at graphs than me. But it doesn't change the fact that this is what you see. And then here in 2012, look at he just stopped giving a fuck.
For an election, this is France presidential election on the left.
He really wanted to win in 2012. Wow.
Okay, on the left, guys, France presidential election.
Normal. That's what
it's more normal. Yeah, you don't see any rapid change.
What year
really
was this?
consistent.
See again, because humans follow human patterns. So this is a normal pattern. Because whether or not you vote for you know whoever the people were in Macron or Le Pen, it doesn't change the fact that this is how the voting went, basically. Like, this is it, human behavior. But this is unnatural because everybody else follows the same line except for this one candidate.
This is 2012.
On the left, it was, I'll have to double check, but I believe their election, it was one of their presidential elections.
Oh, that was with Le Pen.
Round one.
Yeah.
I don't remember the date.
And my question is this. This looks like what all elections kind of look like for the last 40 years, right? On the left.
No.
No.
No, it does not. The last 15 years or so has been interesting. Prior to that, it's harder to get this level of data, but we'll show some other elections in other countries when we do the last
I just mean
analysis.
for America, it's pretty much looked like that. We haven't really been screwing with it that much, have we? Has it?
It's hard to say.
Because again, I'm always looking for the facts. I'm always trying to figure out if you can repeat the right picture in America in 1960, 1980,
and we've only in the last 20 years had the capability to do this.
Got it. Okay.
Because you need computers and you need the tools, and you're doing this by hand before you're doing this by hand.
Right.
So we only have sufficient data to really go back just to 2020 and barely to 2016. And as we can, kind of highlight,
you can see.
Okay. I'm just trying to get past the conjecture here and back into the data a little bit. If you guys want to hear them talk, and it's very fascinating, you should go to his channel to watch it.
It's a long watch, but yeah, I mean, 100%. You should definitely take a look at this.
He wins. That spike in votes is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I keep going.
Indication of manipulation.
Yeah.
So we recreated it in our far easier to comprehend colors. And here is Philadelphia.
Thank you.
Yes. And so on the left here is mail-in. We didn't label the top for this. You'll see them on the next ones. But the left is mail-in. These are new. Just recently
and you
in
can
our
see
reports.
it just follows the exact curve as that the French election was following.
Very
Got
similar.
it.
Very
Yep.
similar. So you were asking, hey, does our elections look like this? The mail-in generally does.
Yep.
Some of the, like California, generally does. So, but we vote by counties and then by states. So it's almost...
I don't know why they would change the type of graph, though. I feel like they're doing themselves a disservice by doing that. Because they create a blockier image of the same information. So I wish they'd kept the same style of graphs through these, though. So they do have a couple of them in a second, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, because it gets really bad here, though. Here, let's let them talk.
When we do our thing. So we have 50 different sets of data that we can look at. And that's why we're able to do this today, is we have so much data and so many baselines that we're now looking at how can we match, how can we prove this is consistent.
You have enough baseline of stuff that wasn't manipulated to see when things are.
Yes, and that was the concern, is no one truly knew what normal looked like before we started digging into it and testing it time and time again in our elections.
So on this one, the Russian tail is the bright red.
On the right, that is election day for Philadelphia. And you see, this is also measured in turnout. The next graphs will have like the fancy x-axis. But yeah, you're seeing that change happen at higher turnout. And it just overtakes the amount of Democratic votes in places where more people voted.
What that would say is, so 58% turnout, all of a sudden votes start going to Trump. That would mean that if the machines had been manipulated potentially, that would mean that they clicked in at a certain number of votes cast.
Yes.
That would mean that things started, so they kept everything normal, so there wasn't any big red flags. And then
threshold was met.
Once people are past a certain thing, it starts switching, changing, or adding. And then what happens is...
Which would, by the way, make it so you had the best likelihood of winning the largest precincts worth the most points.
Right.
That's why Steve Kornacki, I remember when it was going down, I remember Kornacki was like, wait, we've had some big changes here. Do you remember this watching this? And we were like, what? I remember us fucking freaking the fuck out. Like, wait, why, how, what did old people who most Republican vote early, they don't go late. I kept thinking, I go, what? So they all slept in and then went on the last part of the day?
You start to get redder and redder throughout the day. If it's election day, so if there was a vote changing or whatever manipulation,
potentially,
if there was a potential tabulation issue,
potential alleged,
what you would see is that throughout the day, as more people turned up to vote in these locations, after that threshold is met, and then as you continue voting throughout the day, you would get more and more votes. It would get redder and redder in this case if there was manipulation. Here's something I want to highlight for you. Okay, so this is interesting. This is Philadelphia. Harris still won Philadelphia. So why would you care about manipulating these places?
So it looked consistent across the board. So you couldn't. So the data wasn't too obvious.
Here's something.
What do you think?
Here's a concern. How do you?
Dumb guy spoke. You like
no.
You're fine. You're fine.
but it's a good question because you're like, hey, would you do this to make it look normal, consistent? Consistency is the key. Here's the thing: how do you win a state?
With most votes.
You get the most votes. Yeah. You get the popular vote. Doesn't matter what counties you win or lose. Right. You get more votes. So if my demographic of voters doesn't live in the big cities, and I only have so many of them, how do I impact those places with a lot of voters where they're more liberal? I either have to get more of my people to show up and vote, or I have to get less of their people to show up and vote.
We do this, or potentially the machines are manipulated to let a certain number of votes, even though Kamala won, because it would have been too obvious that she lost Philadelphia.
How many bomb threats were in Pennsylvania?
I think that 32 or more.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. There was a lot of bomb threats called in on swing areas, and I can't remember. I think it was like, of course, as soon as they do that, what they explain is that the custody of the votes is dropped. So there was actually millions of votes that were thrown in the garbage because once they had to evacuate the buildings and they come back in and they're like, oh well, all of these votes had their chain of custody broken because they had to be left behind. And so all of a sudden, Johnny, I think you were doing good at being a statue. You were being a good No, you were being an excellent statue. They were saying that basically that and they don't know, because some people are like, my vote wasn't cast, because I guess you guys have a way of checking.
So I forget what it's called. It's like checkmyvote.gov or some shit like that. But I think it's also state. I think it's state per state wide. It varies. I can't remember, but I know there's some places that you can go and check and validate or verify your vote. And a lot of people talking about, hey, I voted, but when I go check, it's not there. It's still not there. Like to this day. Because
they threw away millions of votes apparently. Yeah. Because when the chain of custody was broken to the places where the bomb threats were called, and this wasn't like, it was like 90 something bomb threats across the country. So like it wasn't just like a little thing. It was like somebody was systematically.
It was
systematically.
Yeah.
They were calling in bomb threats on specific locations so that these votes could get thrown in the garbage. Essentially, that's the claim, anyways.
Right.
Got to keep it super professional here. We'll get a couple more of these Russian tail things, and because this is where we just want to get through Russian tails.
This isn't enough to change the outcome of that county.
Kind of gets bad over here.
This is enough to shift. If you did this across multiple counties, this would be enough to shift the outcome of the state. Because you took the amount of votes,
win the state,
then you win the swing state.
Right. So he's talking about Pennsylvania.
This is very interesting. We see this.
You shave it. So basically, what you.
This one was Pennsylvania, I thought. I can't remember now at this point.
Okay, so in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Philadelphia. It's at the top.
So this is in Pennsylvania. Okay. Philadelphia is a city in Pennsylvania.
That's fair. That's fair.
Although she's
hang on a second. So what he's talking about here, if you take a look at the total amount of votes in PA, it's Pennsylvania for my Canadian friend over here. The total amount of votes is just, I think, right at 7 million, and it's split pretty close down the middle. I think Trump won by sub 2%, right? And if you get the little shift, I think he won by 120. Let's see, what does it say? Yeah, 120,266 votes ahead. That's all it took out of 7 million votes was 120,000. So when they're talking about shifting in blue counties, doing this Russian tail to shift, not enough to make.
To be honest with you, it's this whole section right here essentially, because you can see the pattern.
Right.
The pattern is collapsing pretty fast. So like.
Right. What I mean to say is like, because Philadelphia, right? So Philadelphia is 100% blue. I went 100% blue, but it's.
Sorry,
it is a.
Wasn't there.
No, you're good. It is a blue county or blue city, certainly. So it would look terrible if all of a sudden Trump just won, because I think, let me look, what is it, 2020? If we look at 2020, Biden won by, looks like this, like the same sub 2%, like 1.2%. But if you go look at Philadelphia, I'm sure. So you look at Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, Biden won 59.7% to 39.2%. So it was 150,000, it looks like, a little more votes. So what you do there is you shift, say, 60,000 votes in Pittsburgh. You shift that to Trump. And then you do that in Harrisburg. You know, you shift a couple thousand in Harrisburg, and you shift a couple thousand in Allentown, and then you go to Philadelphia, and you shift a little bit in Philadelphia here and there, right? The blue county still goes blue, so it doesn't look like, because he's right. If it all of a sudden, if Pittsburgh goes from 60-40 Biden to 60-40 Trump, that's a huge red flag. And then people are like, what the fuck is going on here? That can't be right. You know what I mean? So what they do is they siphon off a little bit of, and again, this is all conjecture, but they siphon off, 10% here, 5% there off these blue areas, enough to shift the overall vote. That way, when you don't have to manipulate the red counties as much. That way, you can be like, oh, you know what? We can just manipulate them a little bit, so it looks like statewide, the whole country.
There was a shift,
right? There was a shift towards Trump.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, so let's just keep going just a little bit further here.
You're just shaving. You're just shaving, add into your vote totals. So what ends up happening, even though you kick ass in the rural areas, in the very blue areas, you can't win them because that would be too obvious. What you do is you just take 4,000.
Take a little bit off the top.
You take 4,000, 15,000
votes. Yeah, you
votes,
nailed
and she still wins.
Yeah,
just that county though.
Yeah, just that county.
You
Right, got it.
And here's what's interesting is we don't see this just in Philadelphia. We've seen this in multiple counties, even the smaller counties as well. It almost seems to be, if you compromise the tabulators, anywhere a lot of people are voting on these systems, you're going to try and do this.
And this is why he kept complaining about mail-in voting, because for some reason they can't manipulate the mail-in vote, but they can sure shit manipulate the election.
But why couldn't they? If it's fed into a tabulator.
Although they use the same machines, generally, sometimes they have slightly different variations. The problem is it's the accountability of the hand cast votes. People mail in their votes. Election day, you got to get it all done in one day. You got to get it all processed in one day.
Yeah.
Mail in, you can send them in early, and there's still a paper trail. And they go to the county level, I believe. It's not by precinct, it's not by location. So you got a larger window. And the problem is, let's say, hey, I just got mail-in votes. I just got 5,000 votes sent in. And I run it through the machine. And I'm getting less than 5,000 votes on the back end. And it's not like, hey, we need this done today. We have more time. The concern is it may be a risk that they didn't want to take. If they were doing this.
She said paper trail. There's a paper trail. I have evidence of how I voted, and you motherfuckers, that's not how I voted.
Yeah, there's a concern if you could have caught this. Right. If you went really heavy on mail-in.
Good. All right.
Yep. So maybe they decided not to. We do have a little...
Follow-up question. To this is related to my other question from a couple slides ago about the counting the mail-in votes. I'm looking for a smoking gun. Is there a way to look at the mail-in votes that are spiking on Election Day versus the amount of people that can actually process the vote? We know how many staff there are. We know how many precincts there are. We know how many...
Here's what I think about that.
Does that make sense?
I hear what you're asking.
You lost me there on that one.
No.
You lost me too. I fell asleep.
I was lost as well. And so here, let's get to more Russian tail, because I just want to get through these.
I understand now. So what he's asking is, if we were to look at these precincts or these places where we're seeing a sudden and rapid shift of votes for one candidate to the other, and we look at the amount of Democrats in that area or Republicans in that area, does it line up? That's your smoking gun. We did that for Clark County, Nevada. We did that for early voting in Clark County, Nevada. But they have early voting. And the concern is the same for what we're seeing in Pennsylvania. We're seeing the same after X amount of votes in these places, just rapid and consistent growth for one candidate. And we mapped.
After X amount of votes, one candidate starts shooting up. Yep. And there's no reason, and there's no other...
It doesn't match demographics.
It doesn't match demographics. It also doesn't match the normal mail-in voting.
Yep.
And again, I go back to the witnesses. No witnesses. You couldn't manipulate the mail-in vote because people would have to know.
Can I ask? I have a dummy question, because I have not voted in person in years. I always vote by mail. Are some ballots 100% digital now? That's different in each precinct, right? Some are still fill in or punch.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Some of them.
Well, so here in Texas,
we still do it. We still literally draw an X in a circle on a piece of paper.
Right. So here in Texas, we get a paper ballot, but we feed into a machine, and then a machine we make our selections, and then those selections get transferred to that paper ballot, and that paper ballot gets fed into a machine. So it's like a mix. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's a good way of paper balloting and doing a digital paper ballot, so it's much more difficult to physically change the ballot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, because again, it's like,
Still, the last step is it's still getting fed through a machine, though.
It's still well. So yeah, digitally manipulated,
Which is what he's
different.
talking about, because if you manipulated
Right.
the tabulation machines, it wouldn't matter what's on the piece of paper. When you feed it
Right.
to the machine, it just
Right. So
eats it and turns it into whatever.
So here's a fix, and this is a very costly fix. It's not an easy fix. The fix would have to be, and I think this is what I think ultimately, like the danger thing here is, this is what the Republicans want. They want to go to all hand counted ballots. That's what they want to do. Now
That's what basically we do. I don't know why it can't be done.
So again, so
Bigger country with more people, but there's also it just means you mean more people counting. And
Right.
stuff.
That's not my contention with hand counted ballots. My contention is, and I have no problem with people verifying the ballot that way, right? The issue so it's a two-pronged issue. The fact that that the Trump supporters want to go to that, but the Trump supporters also want to make sure that they're the ones doing the ballot counting. So we're still going to see the potential for manipulation. Having a dual form of counting the ballots, for instance, like doing it, where you put your ballot in, you make your selections, and you feed that through a machine. The machine reads and tabulates, so you can get quicker results. There's got to be a way, and it's not an easy fix, but there's got to be a way to be able to verify that what went on that paper is also what went in. You know what I mean? So if I vote one way, I should be able to pull and you can do it by ballot number, right? So we have ballots number 1 through whatever. However the fuck you want to do it, right? 1 through 10. I should be able to go into proceedings and say, hey, I need to see ballot 10 on this date. Here's the date. Here's the ballot. I want to see this ballot. And then they'll go and look at the information on the sheet itself, and then look at the information that was put into the machine, right? So we can verify that shit. That would be one way of doing it. But again, we're talking about time. We're talking about a certain cost. And then there's even potential.
There's never a way to not manipulate the machine at the end of the day.
Well, I understand. I understand. So the point being is, if I'm still casting a paper ballot where it puts my votes, the votes of my selections, right, and those selections are getting changed after I feed it in, I should be able to look at that ballot and go ballot 1. We're looking at ballot 1, the actual paper ballot versus what was counted in, how it was counted in the machine. Let me see that let me see that data. Let me see that entry, right? To make sure that we're going to verify. You know what I'm saying? And you wouldn't necessarily have to do it for every single ballot unless there's some heinous statistical anomaly like we're seeing here. But you could do it for, like 30% of the ballots during your recounts and your verification process. Be like, hey, all right, cool. I need to see ballot this. Let me double check. Okay, this ballot on paper says he voted for this candidate, and in the machine or in the electronic tabulation, those went to where they were supposed to, or they didn't. It got changed. It changed instead of getting candidate A getting this person's vote, candidate B got this person's vote. So there's a mistake here that we need to correct.
I mean, we live in a digital enough era that they could 100% track through the computers, but there's still no way to because now we are conjecture 100%. I'm in conjecture territory, and I'm aware of that before anybody tells me that's just. I'm not saying this happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like at the end of the day, the code is law, essentially to computers. So if you tell it to do something, there's nothing you could tell it to record it this way in this, and to give you an example.
No, I understand what you're saying.
No, I know you know, but even to the audience, one of the car companies, even got in trouble. Which one was it? Volkswagen or whatever, where they were, they designed their car to know when it was getting emissions tested. So when they would take it to the EPA and they would plug the car into the emissions test thing, the computer, and they programmed this right into the fucking code. Yeah. The computer would go oh, there's a harness thing attached to my thing and plugged into these plugs, and as soon as it would do that, it would dial back the timing on the car so that the car would meet EPA emission standards.
Yep.
So that when your car got taken in and tested, it would test fine, and they'd be and it was also for the fuel economy for the laws and all these different things for selling the car in the States.
Yes.
So basically, whenever they would do the testing and they would test it, they're oh, look at that, it tests fine. But then as soon as they unplugged their device from the car, computer, for their EPA testing, and then started the car to drive it out of the test chamber or whatever, the test garage, it was immediately running differently than it had been running when it was on the test bed.
Right. So the point that I'm trying to make is that having a verification, because if I'm casting a paper ballot, right, if I'm actually putting a paper ballot into a machine that's tabulating those paper ballots, I should be able to take the paper ballot out of that machine during a verification process to make sure that the information that I put in that paper ballot was correctly put into the tabulation machine.
Well, and I see what you're saying. Like, they should be able to present you with your paper ballot and like match it to the data in the machine.
Right. Yeah, that would be one way of verifying.
I don't know how you do that though, and like not like, because again, you could just program these things to lie. So
I understand, but again, if I'm taking a look at the actual, and I understand there are ways to get around that, right? And that's what I mean. Yeah, Tesla. I was going to bring it up. Tesla.
That's the other thing too. Talk about setting thresholds.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, if you're a little too heavy on the pedal and stuff, the algorithm goes, "Oh, and I'm just gonna shave a few extra miles off, or add them to your odometer, so that you get a little less warranty out of the vehicle." Like, so he's already proven that he can do these things, and that he is capable of mathematically making it so now that's the same kind of effect once you hit certain thresholds, that you start adding numbers to things and just kind of fucking with the data, right?
Right. So that's kind of where I'm at, right? So that's the point that I'm trying to make. It is tough being able to verify how the paper ballot looks versus what the tabulation machine counted of that paper ballot. Now, I understand that doesn't completely negate the ability for them to manipulate the numbers, because they could just do like a batch manipulation at the very end. So therefore, you could pull those two pieces of data and they would match each other. You know what I mean? Exactly. But that does bring in, let's say we see that. Let's say we're seeing a statistical anomaly like this Russian tail like they're talking about, and we go and pull 30% of those ballots, and everything on paper, quote, is starting to add up, yet we're still seeing this Russian tail. Then that would have to trigger an entire recount or verification by hand. Every one of those.
And that's what should have happened.
Right.
And they explain, by the way, that because people say, well, they audited certain locations, but he explains how they only do like 2% audit, so they take 2% of the votes, which doesn't get them to the threshold in the audit. So when they audit those 2%, the data would be sparse enough that it wouldn't appear anomalous at that point.
Right.
It's only when you start counting enough of them and comparing them that the data starts becoming anomalous.
So that's
because you're not doing enough points.
Not doing enough data collection. The sample size is way too small, because it's easy to push through 1, 2, even 10%. Now we start looking at 20, 25, 30, 40%. We'll start to notice those anomalies.
The patterns start to become, exactly, as you hit more points on the data scale, the patterns become more recognizable. It's the same thing for anything. I've got a data logger sitting in a fridge right now collecting data points on temperature so I can see what it's been doing, because it keeps turning food to ice. And the thing is, like, it was the same thing. I had to choose how many seconds of interval between data points.
Right.
And like, you get more longevity. Like, I can go for a lot longer if I do less points on the scale, because I get 36,000 data points. But I'll also get less refined information if I have less data points.
So this is one thing.
The more data points you get, the more information you get a better picture of what's happening.
So this is one thing that I'll tell people who don't understand. Like, when this came up in amplification when we're talking about guitar amplification. Like, people are like, well, you can't hear, it's so minuscule differences. Yeah, but when we're talking about signal amplification, those minuscule details become a lot more recognizable and noticeable. So if you take a straight line, right? Straight line, and draw, put your point on the beginning of your straight line. And then think about 10% difference, right? Just 10% difference, not at the beginning, 10% difference at the end, right? And you can make your line as long as you want or as short as you want. And if you take a look, Beaver is that thing, what is it called? Yeah, Beaver's brainy. But if you take you take your line and you only manipulate from the beginning to the end 10%, and you look at the very beginning of your line, you're not going to see much difference. It's going to be infinitesimally different. It's not until you get farther away from your starting point. So it's like, the most basic.
No, you're right. It just looked like a basic trend. It won't create a nice.
Yeah,
nice
you won't
mosaic
get.
of
You won't
information.
see. Right. What I was saying is that's like the most basic explanation of the beginning of chaos theory. When you talk about different data points and how, when you start drawing in all the data points and how things change based on that, that's when you start getting all these weird shapes and whatnot. But if we only get, or we're only going to look 2% into this, then you're not going to see anything. I can manipulate 2%. I can manipulate 100% of the vote, but if you only get 2% of it, that's not enough. Not unless you specifically choose the exact right 2%, and the odds of doing that are so small.
Yeah, I mean,
You've got to look at a much larger section of the data.
So here let's get into our last Russian line, or Russian tale here. Yeah, this one's fucking weird right here too.
But generally speaking, there are paper votes to look at.
I want to point out to everybody who's looking at this graph, and because I understand how dense it is for our people, we're just usually just going about you screaming and stuff. But look at the bright red at the end. Once the votes hit a certain level, all of a sudden, for no reason, no valid reason, everything changes and votes start shooting up for one candidate.
Yeah,
that is unusual and weird.
Yes, and there's one more county we'll highlight. This is Erie County. This
that
is
one's
a
giving
little
us the middle
aggressive.
finger.
Yeah, they were fucking around in Erie.
So same concerns, mail-in. We don't really see rapid change.
It doesn't match at all.
And then election day is very aggressive, very rapid change.
Wonder why Erie? Wonder why Erie?
Well, if you look at,
I think Erie is the third largest.
I think it's either the third or the fifth. I think it's the third. The concern here is when you break down the data, you want to look at how are people voting and where are they voting. And if they only have X amount of, however you've designed the algorithm, anywhere that more people are voting on only a few locations, it's going to potentially change more.
Right.
Philadelphia, a lot of machines, a lot of places to vote, a lot of places to tabulate. But you get smaller locations but more dense, you would theoretically see rapid change in some of those places, and we're seeing that in Erie.
Can I help explain? Can I help explain the graph? So if you guys look at the opening of the graph on election day, you'll see that she's really overperforming at the beginning of the day, and as they hit the voter threshold, what ends up happening is all of a sudden everything goes to Trump. Now, if she started performing that way early, that would have been consistent throughout the day. There's no reason for her to. And if you look at the mail-in vote, you can see her overperforming. Why? How the fuck? There's no way that everybody, all the Democrats sent their mail-in vote, and then all of a sudden this is look at the craziness on election day. And it didn't do it from the jump. Had it done it from the jump, it'd be a lot harder to prove. It does it when you guys hit a certain number of votes. That's fucked up, man.
What you highlight there is it's a trend.
Holy
so we're looking
shit.
at the trend.
Also what you said,
Yeah, so in
Harris,
Erie, they're
Democrats
talking
are
about a
like
2% swing. They're talking about 2% swing in Erie from 2020 to 2024, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it was enough because Biden won Erie in 2020 by exactly 1%, and Harris lost by exactly 1%. So we're 2% total swing. And it's little bits here and there. Because I think, what was the let me see here. In Pennsylvania, let's see here. Biden beat Trump by 1.2%, which looks like 90,000 votes, give or take. Roughly 90,000 votes in 2020. And then if you look at just Pennsylvania, go back.
What? Oh, sorry. I thought you didn't know.
No, not you. Me. I'm talking to me. Damn it. Whoops. Now I hit the wrong button altogether. Son of a bitch.
What are you looking for?
I've got election maps pulled up. So if you look at 2024,
okay,
Biden won by 90. What did I say? You know what? Let me just do the math. Fuck it. So minus 3. I'm sorry. I said 90,000. It's actually 111,000 votes. Biden won Pennsylvania. 111,660 votes. And then just those little 2% swings here and there, all of a sudden, now Trump is winning by 120,000 votes. See, that's why when you talk about voter manipulation, and again, this is all conjecture, right? Because we obviously can't prove anything. We can look at the data that this gentleman provides and look at the data that we're seeing provided by the election results. This is on the surface level difficult to, because if you just look at the count, well, okay, 2% swing doesn't seem so bad, right? 1% 1 year, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem bad,
yep,
right? Overall, but then you start looking at how that, like, you take that bit of information. That's all it took was 2% overall swing in Pennsylvania to have Pennsylvania go from voting for Biden to voting for Trump. And you look at this, what they're talking about, little things here and there, a little bit of pushes here in the blue states and a little bit of pushes in the red states. We're talking about the difference of, 120,000 in 2024 versus 110,000 in 2020. Like, that's the level of swing we're talking about there.
Like,
in a state that has 7 million voters.
Yeah, for sure. Like, look at the shape of this bullshit.
Right, it's a big
consistent
blob
throughout the whole day.
Well, and look at the shape of it. Look how it's just got this all of a sudden. It's like when you get above a certain election day voter turnout, above a certain percentage of the turnout in an area, all of a sudden she just starts dropping and he starts going up, and they literally are like inversing of each other.
Yeah.
So it makes it's data anomalous. Like, it makes no sense at all. It does not fit human patterns. And even here, you've got, like, look at this. Suddenly he starts at a certain point just performing upwards and she performs downwards. And again, it's based on how many vote. So the thing is, it's like they're taking now, remember, they went ahead and got a whole bunch of people. Like, you got signed up for $1 million if you, $1 million lottery if you just gave Elon Musk your information.
Yep.
And stuff. So the exact kind of information they would need to be able to maybe like cast a ballot in your honor. That's the other thing too.
Liz brings up Erie, PA. So if you look at Erie, PA specifically, again, it's a 1% difference. So in 2024, Donald Trump was 50% to 49%, exactly 1% difference. And the same thing in 2020. You have, go to Erie, no, Pennsylvania. Where is it? There is Erie. In Erie, it was Biden 49.8% to Trump's 48.8%. So we're talking about 1%. Boom. The 2% overall shift. And that's all it took to switch Erie from Biden 4 years ago to Trump. And again, just looking at that one piece of information, you'd be like, okay, you know what? Sometimes it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. When you take a look at all of the data, this is why it's important to do data collection all over. You can't just say, well, I saw. And this is the thing that the election deniers in 2020 were missing. They were missing the data. They were missing the evidence. Actual information. They were just like, right. They were like, well, I saw this and I saw that. I'm like, no, you didn't. Prove what you saw. Like, these guys are like, hey, look, here's some statistical anomalies that seem to line up with voter manipulation. And then you start taking a look at how these little things here and there, like how it adds up and how it's so much, little things and just little shifts.
So they've got the last thing I'll show here, I guess, on the topic here, because we've been running pretty long here.
Yeah.
Is this is a heat map that they've produced, and it again, I'll let him talk for a second here just to explain it, and then we'll just talk about it real quick. I don't get as much information out of this because this is a simulated thing, but it's still good information.
Last two you saw, I don't think I explained truly, but Roman Udot, he's a election expert and a data analyst and technically a statistician that worked for Russia, was in Russia, and had then began to publish concerns of Russian elections and left Russia.
Explain what heat map analysis.
So I will, but his analysis was more based on that turnout we saw in the Russian town. So he has already done that work and published his paper, and we based that analysis off of his work. Got it. And then in this case, this is Peter Kilmair.
So this is essentially the same data just being presented in a different form.
Right.
Is what I think here. So it's just showing a heat map, like, of how people voted, basically, or how they vote. And so, anyways, I'll let him.
So he and others had produced this on the left, a paper talking about heat maps and elections. So you see we have 4 different elections up here. Right. Russia in 11, Russia in 12, Uganda, and Switzerland. So what you want to know here is which of these is normal, which of these is not. On the right section of graphs, that is a fair modeled election. It's going to be a circle with a high density in the middle, and then it's just going to be, a little bit of an orb, a glob, a ball. It's going to be a ball. So we see on the right is what it should look like. On the left is the real data, and then the middle is trying to overlap. On the left is Russia in 11 and 12, and we see a comet trail, if you will. And what's happening is as turnout's increasing,
the votes
are growing.
Or whatever happened, they were drunk on vodka, and at the end of the day, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people are showing up to vote for Putin.
Yep. And then Uganda, we see something different, but just as concerning, where it's shifting up to the right. And then Switzerland, we see almost.
In Switzerland, you see it's got much closer to the expected pattern of a model of a fair election, model of a which one is this? Tit? I don't know what the center. What's the center one supposed to be? I
can't see it.
That one. Well, it says like FIT. Okay, the center shows a fit with the fraud model. A fit with the fraud model. I don't know what that means. Right shows the expected model outcome of a fair election. The left shows the observed election fingerprints. Center shows a fit with the fraud model. I don't understand what they're saying.
A normal,
pretty consistent.
Yeah. And so,
long story short, the right is a simulated fair election. The left is what they actually got.
We're going to look at then, as we did this analysis.
And in the middle is,
by the way, Uganda.
The middle is fictional, not a fictional, but it's a simulation of.
Well, I think it's So the right is a simulation, is a modeled version of a fair election. The center is a modeled version of an unfair election. But I don't know how that would make sense, because then Switzerland would have a tail in that version.
Well,
see what I'm saying? Because if you're trying to model what an unfair election would look like.
Yeah, that's the only one that doesn't seem to add to follow.
Yeah, the only thing unless he explains it better, I don't fully understand the center one. But I will say that the right is a model of a fair election. The left one appears to be, based on the information on the screen here, is what they actually got.
Yeah.
So the one thing I will note is that the model of Switzerland's fair election is very similar to what they actually got. So you never know you never know. Maybe manipulation is more common than we think in our elections, but
sure.
It would appear that Switzerland's matches the model more directly than all the other examples.
So Bruce Wolford says, weren't there also questionable vote counts for Bush Jr.? That was, yes.
That was different. That was the hanging Chad situation. Remember? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
I do. I was actually about to explain it, but,
Go ahead, please.
The middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours.
Oh, that's FTF's thing.
No, it's not.
Keep going. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Keep explaining.
All I was going to say is this was not anomalous in this instance. It wasn't the same type. This was more of just bad fucking ballot counting. Because it was like obvious, right? So you go back and look at the way that the ballots were
there'd be like three options or two options that weren't touched at all, and the one option where the Chad, they had broken the little bubble thing out, the little like breakout thing, and it was like broken right out and hanging there. It didn't fully break off or whatever, and they'd be like, well, there's no guarantee that was actually their intended vote. It's like, motherfucker, it's barely holding on. Like it's like, it was very obvious, but I mean, there's footage of them all standing around pointing at fucking Chads and stuff, and like it's the most insane shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a stupid way to. Yeah, it was a bad ballot. It
was dumb. It was it was a dumb system at that point.
Yes.
But yes, there was, and that's a different kind of, it was almost like it was the same kind of bullshit, but just done more like legitimately, I guess, almost. Maybe, however you say that.
This is going to be awful.
We made the joke of how fair are elections on a scale from Switzerland to Uganda to Russia, and we're gonna find you're gonna be concerned when we do this. So here's a couple more baselines for you, so this is a real thing. This is Ohio.
Okay.
This is their state board, nonpartisan election, more normal, right? This is what we would expect to see.
That's state board. That's just local state.
So that's an Ohio state board election, like a local election map.
Yeah.
That's a heat map. Okay.
It's their state board stuff. Down ballot. This is a nonpartisan race. Looks like a ball. So that's what we should expect to see in our races. We've established this now. Yeah. Now we're going to look at mail-in for Erie. More of a ball. Right? We're not seeing any weird stretching as turnout increases. No, it's a ball. Consistent. Now we're going to look at Erie on election day.
We got a bit of a comment thing.
It oddly has the shape of Russia's election.
It looks very similar,
doesn't it?
So what we're seeing. This is the same analysis we've seen time and time again.
So it's not like as bad as Russia, but it's like it's been stretched.
Yes,
is the thing. It's anomalous now. So again, it's not definitive. It's what we would consider anomalous.
Right.
Turnout increases.
Yeah.
In all
I think that is important, though. It is important to make that distinction. This this person is not saying that the election was rigged. Neither are we. We're not saying that this election was stolen.
I mean, it
rigged,
might have
anything.
been, but we're saying that the information is
What
anomalous.
we're saying is, that there is enough information
Inconsistency
to question, to actually look into. So we have the data points that say this may or may not. This may be a little. There could be something here. We need to look into it. Right. That's what we're saying.
It's fitting a lot of the understanding of how elections would be cheated. Is the
right.
We're seeing this is for Trump specifically. We're only showing Trump
I
here.
want to be clear. I want everybody to hear this. In every precinct, we're not just talking about red precincts. It goes up at the end of the day. We're talking Democrat and
you're going to have to. All right. Here.
Okay, I'll go back 20 seconds here.
Everything was set to. You said per machine. They were set at.
I can show you that here in a second. If you
I would love that because some of the smaller counties they show the real normal election that had less than 250
Well,
votes.
hold that thought then. Let's finish the last two, and then I'll show you that real quick.
All right.
And you're going to have to. All right. Here we go. Allegheny.
no.
Here we go.
What the fuck?
So you don't have a comment trail here. You have a comment of manipulation, potential manipulation, and it's election day is the middle. So that's what you care about. On the right is you're combining the two and they average out.
So mail in,
a
ball, kind of a ball.
More normal. More
normal.
And then Allegheny, you see that up and to the right. And then of course you see this for Philadelphia as well. There's your comment trail.
You know, this is graph porn. You love graphs, man.
Hey, look at this. Look at that. That's a comment. That matches manipulation patterns.
Yep.
And then I think he had one more, but maybe I don't. Either way. Yeah, that's crazy. So anyways, we've been going a little long here, so we can probably start working our way through this and get out of here. But so sorry to who was it just arrived? Sorry. You're going to have to go back and watch the whole thing. We're 2 hours and 50 minutes in.
Yeah.
So I've kept Johnny, he's probably in the background in the chat going, "Please, I need to pee."
I do need to pee, but no, I haven't been in the background.
That's funny. Every time we end, I realize that there's like private chats down there, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
It's like 45 minutes ago. Like, bro, we gotta wrap this up. It's funny. So somebody told me they're like, "Oh, your outros have been shorter with Johnny." I'm like, "Well, Johnny's got to go at the end of it." So
yeah, like
funny.
Physically have to.
No, I understand. You got things you got to do too, and everything, right? Too. So
no, generally speaking, it's like I got to go to the bathroom, and then
I've been holding Johnny too long. So anyways, this is again. Apparently, the link is in my Discord. Discord link is not in. Can somebody grab my Discord? I mean, again, I don't think it lets me. Oh, maybe it will now. Did I figure it out? It could. Hold on. I think it did. I think it'll let me. I think it was like a glitch that day or something like that. Let's see. Invite people. It just wasn't working that day. The invite link expires in 7 days. No, it never expires. And then we're going to bring that in. Let's see. Can I do this? Can I do it? Paste. Nope. No, it didn't let me. See?
Why?
That's so fucking weird. I don't know why. I don't know why it doesn't let me.
Are you in streamer mode?
I feel like that didn't... Oh, you did this last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem, wasn't it? Streamer
I think
mode?
so.
It was the problem last time. Let me turn that off. I'll try this again. Because that was the problem, actually, now that I think of it. Invite people. Okay, let's try it now. Yeah! There you go. So there's the Discord in the chat. If anybody wants to jump in Discord. And Liz Lizard Breath has put the link to Titus podcast in there. This is a 2-part series. It's all together. It's like 3 hours of content. So, if you're playing a video game or just going for a jog or something, I mean, it's good to listen to. The graphs are nice to be able to look at, but it's also good listening. It's like anything. Sometimes I'll stop while I'm in my walk and like look at the chart when I'm listening to a podcast and maybe like, oh shit, hey, turn it off, put it back in my pocket, keep going, because I've got premium, so I can listen to it while I walk with the screen on, right?
This is what I love the most about you there, Beaver, is you are so stereotypically Canadian.
What was Canadian about that? I don't understand. Other than that, yes, I am. But
the fact. Oh, look at that, eh?
Oh yeah, shit. Well, we do it naturally. Like we do say, "Hey,"
I know. It's just funny to me. I'm not making fun of you. I mean, it's endearing.
No, I know.
Right?
I think it's great. Yeah, no, for sure.
Because
it's like when I hear an American say "rough," I know exactly what you're talking about, and we love you for it. Look at that rough over there. It's like, oh, those are O's.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Fun.
But yeah, this is good. I don't know what we're gonna. I know that we had looked at talking about ID or what idea? What is it? DEA or idea?
Idea. Yeah.
Was it that's the whole. So we could still be looking at that potentially.
Yes.
I didn't have a lot of time. I don't think Johnny and I have been a little busy lately, so I didn't have a ton of time to prepare for tonight. So this has been a topic that I saw a few weeks back. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. So I just said, hey, why don't we talk about all this stuff? He's like, let's do it.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's because I saw the same thing when when they first came out. It was been like a month, maybe longer. I would be curious to hear what new information they have.
Well, yeah, because this is what he does now, literally.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you think that this is something we're donating to, I believe that Titus also has a donation link. Election Alliance. They have a link there in his video as well, where you can go and donate to the Election Truth Alliance. Which I hate to say it though, it sounds like a very like mega. Like, right, like, it does, like, you can't, like, it's, like, truthers and, like, you got all the flat earthers that are, like, they always use truth and, like, because, like, for instance, one of the things, like, usually if you're, like, on, like, X and somebody's name is, like, something truth or whatever, you can almost guarantee that they don't have any truth to anything they're saying. Like,
Right.
So, like, I thought that the name of their little organization was, like, a little bit too on the nose for myself. If you send somebody a link for that, they'd think that they were sending money to a MAGA group.
Right.
Like, so, yeah. But no, that's what they're doing. So, this is what they do now. This is literally what they're living and breathing. He actually explains in this whole thing that he essentially lost his job for this. He told them he was going to be presenting this information. They told him that if he was going to do that, he didn't work there anymore, and he proceeded to say, okay, I guess I don't work here anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, it was like, quit, but kind of was fired, because, like, he was told, don't come in if you're going to be talking about this online.
And he said,
because I
bye.
guess they didn't, and he said, I see you later, I guess, sorry. Like, I'm sure he didn't want to lose his job, but he says that he decided that the election was more important than, than his job, I guess. So, I mean, good on him. So it'd be good to send them some money if you feel so inclined, because they're definitely trying to help democracy in America, which is not something I thought I'd be saying at this time of the year already in 2025. I thought it'd take another year or two to get to this conversation point, but
no,
100 days in,
Fuck, I know what I'm saying. Like, so fast. So there is one thing, the Simpsons, right? Everybody's all talking about the Simpsons and how well they are at predicting things.
Yeah, 100%.
Simpsons have a prediction about the demise of somebody.
Oh, do they? Well, yeah, but when was this? From back in the day?
Mm-hmm. From way
What,
back
Trump?
when. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, I'm not bringing that up on the show. I'll be on an NSA list tomorrow.
All I'm saying is that there's a cartoon that talks about things that sometimes gets them right.
So, did you know, before we go, did you know that when Kathy Lee Gifford did that thing where they held up, like, the Donald Trump,
Oh,
skull,
yeah.
like, the head, like, she was unable to get on a plane until he was done being president.
Yeah.
Like, they literally, like, they personally, like, she was even apparently friends with Donald Trump, like,
yeah,
and, like, on a personal level, she just, and then she did this, like, trying to make a joke out of it, which a little bit lowbrow. I think that maybe it was one of those examples of somebody thinking, like, it's almost like these people scare the shit out of people in public. They're like, it's just a prank, bro. So I do think that her joke was a little over the top, but either way, like, they put her on, like, a do not fly list and everything. Like, she couldn't even get on an airplane for the rest of his tenure as president. Like, that's how fucking hard they went at her after that. Like, it was crazy, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, we're talking about man baby on an epic scale here.
Yes. So, Liz, yes, you are correct. It was supposed to be 4/12/25. And I was going to make that distinction, but Beaver was like, no, don't talk about it because I want to fly airplanes.
I was joking
I know
mostly,
you
but
were.
like
I'm just
which
busting
thing?
your chops.
412.
That was
25?
that was a date that the Simpsons predicted the demise of a certain orange guy. Mm-hmm.
Well, wait, was this supposed to be? Okay, now we have to know.
So the Simpsons predicted that Trump was going to be no longer with us, and that was going to happen on April 12th of 2025. Obviously, when it didn't happen because we are May 3rd. But
I would like to tell my NSA overlords that anything I show here is done in jest. Oh, where is it though? Oh, there's so many things in here. The NSA scandal.
It's so hard to find specifically this one little thing on because there's going to be it doesn't really matter. I think no
3D printed food. We're so close to that.
Yeah.
Trump on escalator, Notre Dame. Oh my God, that's so true. Fuck.
Yeah.
That bitch, motherfucker. Is it just because they've had so many episodes though? I feel like if you got to make enough jokes for long enough, you might be right about some stuff.
Yeah.
But it is scary. It's almost eerie.
It is, right?
Maybe the Lord is speaking to us through Simpsons.
Now there are some of those that are done after the fact, right? And they go back and like, well, look, see here, and it's like, no, that didn't happen. That never aired. But
I mean, yeah.
So the idea is that it's any day now, and they're talking about by July.
Oh, it's fake apparently.
Yeah. It's fake. Yeah, sure. But
so it's people just taking
Right.
liberty with
Yes.
something.
Right.
Yeah, I see.
But now we're talking about they're making Simpsons. Yeah, they do make a lot of jokes. Yes, they do.
I won't be flying to the States anytime soon. Anyways, they're like literally asking people for their social media handles.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not. They're actually asking people at the border for their social media handles and shit.
Tell them it's suck my bunghole.
Like so just so you Americans you Americans sound so negative. I love you guys. But just so you understand how Europe and I think Canadian officials too, but Europe, when they send diplomats now to the States, they give them burner phones and burner laptops.
So I have heard this. I've heard that you need
100%. So they said don't be logged into any of your shit. Don't be.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were talking about Americans. If you're going to go traveling overseas, take a burner phone if you can, or just don't take your phone. Which, fuck.
And if you're not originally from the nation, you probably shouldn't even leave. To be honest with you, there's people that are residents that have lived there for 20 years having troubles getting back into the country.
Yes.
And getting held for a day before they let them go and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and we're talking about we're deporting U.S. citizens now. Now we said, hey, this is coming, and everybody's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Well, here we are.
Yeah, they're literally asking, Bruce said it right there, 100%. This isn't isolated either. They are literally on non-rare occasions now. They're asking to see the contents of your phone, which. I don't have anything in there that you can't see, but I don't think you should be privy to the pictures I have of maybe if I have a saucy nude for my wife or something, you know what I mean? I just don't see why you should be privy to those kinds of things on my phone.
That's
So you get
a
to
huge
see all
violation of privacy.
I'm logged into all my email accounts, and what you get to get sifting through all my shit. Get out of here. That's crazy. If you have actual reason to believe that you should be able to, that might be one thing. But now we're living in a point, and the thing is, the way it's written is we're trying to essentially apply for a visa when we're at the border. So I get it to a degree, but at the same time, it's just but so then if you go on my X and you find out that I'm not a big fan of the fucking sweet potato Hitler, then all of a sudden, I don't get access to the country. And then the problem is, if you get denied access to America, even when he's not president now in the future, every time I go through the border, they're going to say, have you ever been denied access to the country? And I'm going to have to say yes. And then they say, oh, immediately they're now combing me harder. Because so now my entire existence traveling to the States for just a vacation changes because that one time I got denied entry to the States for some
so
stupid reason.
Hopefully what'll happen is after Mandarin Mussolini gets booted out of, and they've already introduced a bill into that would allow Trump to run for a third term. That's already been introduced. That has 100% been introduced.
Yeah.
Okay, they're trying to.
Oh no, they're gonna
change.
100% try to do it. 100%.
It won't. It won't happen. It shouldn't happen because they need 3/5 or 3/4 of the states to ratify. So I don't think it's going to happen. But hopefully, what happens when he gets the boot, finally, hopefully, we finally get some people in there with common sense and not JD Vance and those other cronies. We get some normal, even a normal Republican. I would take a Bush Republican over this fucking idiot that we have right now. You know,
We'll trade you for Alberta. That's Canada's having a bit of a tumultuous time right now.
A little bit, but it would be awesome if we get regular. And then when you come down, if that were to happen, right? If you got denied for some stupid bullshit, they'd be like, hey, have you been denied? Yes, but it was during Mandarin Mussolini time. Like, oh yeah, nobody gives a shit. Fucking let's go.
I keep telling Albertans if the West breaks off to become its own country, they're going to have to support Saskatchewan. And they're like, no. I'm like, bro, it's 3% of the economy. I'm like, of Canada. Like, they're going to need you to prop them up.
Yeah.
Like, can you, and like, no offense to Mr. Andret, but I think he'll know what I'm talking about. I said to somebody, Manitoba's never going to join Alberta in another, being a Western Canada country or something. I was like, can you imagine Manitoba needing to rely on Alberta to give it money for its fucking, like, for its propping up its economy, like, and its social services? That would be like pulling teeth out of our heads. Like Alberta's always about like keeping the money at home. It'd be like, they think dealing with Ottawa's bad. Holy shit, that'd be terrible. We love Mr. Andret though. Anyways, I'll talk all night if you let me. Listen, anything we should just get out of here. Anything you want to say? But listen, everybody, Mr. Andret, Prosecco Rose, Liz, Bruce Wolford. I only said Liz Lizard Breath. Don't want to cut out your last name. Simone?
Simon.
Yeah, is that Simon?
Simon.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's who has an H at the end of Simon, okay?
Simon H has an H at the end of Simon.
Oh, well, you could be a last name. Now you're thinking. You're not allowed to think, okay?
Fuck.
Lisa, Midnight Smoke. I know if I scroll up, there's more. Martel. Hey, listen, I appreciate everybody who's come by and hang out with us. Sorry that we weren't around for 2 weeks. We were just, having life. Busy.
I'm about to
things in
get
the background,
stupid busy. I've got feature
We're both
after
about to get
feature.
stupid busy.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, and you've got summertime coming up, so I can only imagine.
So the time we do this, like, I think we're going to keep trying to do this. It's just, it might jiggle around the week a little bit at times or whatever as we try to figure out which days are going to work for us, right? So,
yeah. Same thing with content
yeah.
on my channel. It's just so difficult because I got to tear down all my stuff here to take the gigs, and then it just becomes a hassle. So, it is what it is. It's not that I don't love you guys. It's just that I've been stupid busy. So I'm trying to,
And you were like dying of hairspray or something recently.
Fuck, I walked through a cloud.
I sent him a message. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, you done with the Trump content? Or like, you okay? He's like, I walked through a cloud of hairspray. It's been rough ever since.
Fuck, man. It was, what was it, like 2 weeks ago or some shit? I was on set, and somebody, HMU is supposed to do their shit in their area back where HMU belongs, right? So all that stuff is supposed to have hair makeup, right? They're supposed to, fuck off to a different room, so I don't have to be there because I can work. And I'm highly allergic to fucking hairspray, a lot of fragrance and whatnot. So they had talent on set, and they had to fix some fucking hair thing, and the fucking hair artist was just like, got this big gigantic can of hairspray and was just fucking hotboxing the entire goddamn room with it, and I walked right through it. It fucking choked me up. I knew when it happened. Like, this is not going to end well because I could feel it in my lungs. Fucking hell. And I was coughing, and then I got stupid sick for a while.
So now we've got to do barf, jelly beans, and hot sauce stream. So
okay,
like we gotta like.
I got some
new
new
hot sauce day too. I just don't have any.
It's going to be tough for you to get it too. You could probably get it from Smokin' Ed's, Puckerbutt Farm. You can probably get some there. I'm sure you guys have got.
Puckerbutt, is this a website?
Yeah, Puckerbutt Farms. Yeah.
Puckerbutt.
Just look up Smokin' Ed. Yeah.
Oh yes, Puckerbutt Farms.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, this is. What do you mean? Is this some that like? Are they the supplier for hot ones, I guess?
Some of them, they've got like Reaper Squeezins is the one they're most famous for.
Oh, okay.
That
Here we
one's
go.
fairly spicy.
So, which range did you buy them from? Hot to painfully hot, or what?
I just bought Reaper Squeezins from Smokin' Ed. I went to this other place in California and bought a few things. I forget what it's called, but
Reaper Squeezins. I see. $16. No, I mean apparently I can get this shit.
yeah, it's not. I mean, it's very spicy, very spicy.
Well, wait a minute. So what's under the category of painfully hot, though?
That would be Reaper Squeezins.
No, it wasn't. Oh yeah, there is. There's Oh no, wait. Okay, so there's extra hot signed Reaper Squeezins.
Yeah, we got that one
Is
too.
that the one you're talking about? Oh, okay. So that's under very painfully hot.
Yeah.
And then very hot has like the regular Reaper Squeezins. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
So
yeah.
There's one called Da Bomb. I'm sure you've heard of Da Bomb. If you know hot ones, you know Da Bomb.
Yes.
It's disgusting. It's gross. It is hot. It's spicy as shit, but it's also not. The flavor is not good.
I'll look through these. Look at the spicy shark. Jesus.
Yeah, they have a lot of good ones there.
Megalodon Carolina Reaper. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, okay. We could do that. Surf. Oh, he says got both. Thought the sign seemed weaker to me.
So the funny thing about peppers or about chilies is that it's not like, you know what I mean. It's not an exact science when it comes to, well, this is peppers are going to be, or this chili is going to be hot, and this chili, like you can get 2 jalapenos and one eat like fucking candy and another one it'll light you up. It just depends. So yeah,
sometimes it's just your own reaction to these things.
Yeah, Martell, Da Bomb, the flavor. I like spicy food, but the flavor is just not. It's like battery acid. It's so gross.
So it's like the Bentleys or the Buckleys of like hot sauces.
Yeah,
Buckley's changed their recipe. I tried to give my kid Buckley's and it wasn't nearly as bad as it used to be. That shit used to make you right up vomit. Anyways, all right, let's get out of here. So have a good night, everybody. It's been great. I appreciate you guys. We're gonna jump out and we will see you again in a week or possibly 2 if things are too spicy for us schedule wise. So
yep.
We will talk to y'all again. Thank you for coming.
Hey, everybody.